You are listening to King's Court Podcast.
Wait, save this for the pod. We need this one. Okay, hold on. All right, I'm going in. All right, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the King's Court Podcast. In this corner, we have me, the King, Brandon. And in the other corner, we have...
You have Oxo, the third one for this episode.
Sleepy Boy Axu.
I'm going to try my best, but
Why are you sleepy? Tell them why you're sleepy.
I was out drinking yesterday. That's my excuse for today.
And why were you drinking?
Because of the Finnish Independence Day.
Right. So you were celebrating. You were throwing it in the air like you just don't care, yeah?
I mean, I fell asleep on my friend's floor at 9 p.m. for 40 minutes.
Do you mean 9 a.m.?
No, 4 p.m. Then we started at 11 a.m. So.
Oh, you were going ham. Okay. So do you just drink? Do you get any sort of special food?
No, we
just
drink. We were at our friend's place. I baked some Christmas things for the thing. I don't have a translation for those.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to say something before we get started with our guest. I'd just like to say a couple things. First of all, please like, comment, subscribe, all the goodies. You know in your hardest of hearts that no podcast right now is firing like the King's Court Podcast. Especially when you get this guest. It's banger after banger. You know what I mean? So there's that out of the way. There was one more thing. What was it that I was like, ooh, need to... it's not coming to me right now, but it'll get there. But today we have a very, very, very special guest. I'm pumped for all of my guests, but this is we have a legend in the building, So man, I hope I'm able to get to every time that we have with our legendary guest. He's definitely the reason for the point of no return for touch-ups. Has been in your homes, every Thursday for as long as I can remember, 8-10 years, a long time. Household name, of course. Metropole Grid, Andre's in the building.
Thanks so much. That's very kind. I'm a long-time watcher, first-time caller. Thanks for having me, both y'all. This is I've really been enjoying the King's Court over the last, how long has it been? A couple months now. It's been great. Thanks for having me.
Yo, a couple months. You see, this is the kind of big timing we're gonna get to. You see? Everybody thinks I'm crazy when I talk about Andre. And do you see what he comes on the podcast? He said, "Yeah, you guys have been hot for a couple months." Listen,
it's been good.
Yeah, call us small timers.
It's been consistent content. I've been mostly reading the short court. I'm kidding. I thought I'd
tell us about the short court. You have to tell us more. Otherwise, Chris only gave us pieces, but you got to tell us more about the short court.
So I think there's two short courts. I think there's the short court that's published internally to the Snare Bears testing group, and it's good. It has emojis, it has fiery takes on it. And then there's the short court that gets sanitized, I think, for public consumption. I'm pretty sure it's out there, but it's good. And usually what I do is I watch the episode and then I listen or I read the short court, and then you kind of get to see your biases. You get to see the Chris take on it, which it's usually pretty good.
Honestly, I'll be dead on it. I didn't know it was this elaborate. I didn't know. No. Chris came on. He's like, yeah. I just summarized. There's a whole name. There's a whole brand. People are eating off this short court. What is this?
It's good. Look. I make long form content. I'm not gonna shit on long form content. It's good. I do it all the time. Too much of it. Having accessible versions of it is a nice aperitif. You know what you're getting into. It's good.
This is excellent. This is better than I could have ever imagined. Short court. We have off the court. Now there's short court. Man, we can add more. This is gonna be good. Andre, before we get into present and future goodies, we like to go back into the past.
Yeah.
And we kind of want to know how it all began, how you got into Netrunner, what exactly does that look like, or did
Yeah,
that look like?
I've been thinking about this because I know this question comes up, and I'm actually really bad at recollecting like past histories. So, without going too deep into it, I also had a similar journey where when I was a kid, I got into Pokemon and then I got into Yu-Gi-Oh. Shout out to my sixth grade teacher, Mr. Meadows. He was just playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and during like recesses, instead of going outside, he's like, "You can stay inside and play this card game." And for some reason, the entire like sixth grade class, it was totally gendered too, unfortunately. We were all just playing Yu-Gi-Oh every like lunch, every recess for like a year when we were in sixth grade. It was sick. And that's how it started. It's like I've never seen the show. I don't know the anime. Like I know nothing about the thing. But like I got some cards from a friend and then I got into card games. And after that, hadn't played for a long time. Went into university. In university, got into board games. And then Shut Up and Sit Down. This was like the earlier era where like Quinn made videos, like very effusive videos about like how you have to get into Netrunner. And so me and a friend, we decided to like go halfsies on a box of the core set, like the 2012 FFG core set. And we played it. He didn't like it that much. I liked it. I'm like, I'll keep playing this. And then I kept playing it. And then I kept getting data packs. This was midway through the spin cycle. So I've been playing for, I think it's like 13 years now. I've been playing for a long time. The first product that I remember going to like a store and buying on release day was Honor and Profit. So yeah, it's been a long journey at this point. And I just kept getting into it. And Montreal was like such a good city to play this game because we used to go to we have like everyone has these, I guess, board game cafes, right? So we would go every Monday night to a board game cafe. The owner turned out one of the owners. He eventually won like the Gen Con North American Nationals in like 2015. He was super invested into the game, and so like on Monday there would be like dozens and dozens of people showing up to play casuals, and the culture was just really good. And we like continued playing. The people here are awesome, and like it's so great. Like 12 years later, 13 years later, a lot of the same people are still like showing up to regulars. It's a great city to play the game.
Montreal.
Yeah, Montreal.
Montreal. Okay, so a couple questions. So, do you remember what Yu-Gi-Oh format you were playing at the time in grade 6, and you played for a whole year of recess?
Yeah.
Like before digital, before
Yeah.
everyone was glued to their screens. Okay, the first experiment was run where Andre's sixth grade teacher was like, "What if we don't let kids play outside, and instead we have them inside playing Yu-Gi-Oh?" The first to ever do it. The first to ever do it in enforced. Forget going outside and playing with your friends. This is how we're gonna do things. This is wild. So, do you remember what format you were playing?
Yeah, I remember the format. Like I remember the cards that I enjoyed. But I think that the thing I remembered most was like experiencing power creep as like what was I, like 11 years old at that time? Because so like the short of the long in Yu-Gi-Oh is that monsters have star ratings. The more stars there are, generally the bigger they are. But you can play any monster freely that's 4 stars or fewer. And so if you're playing a 4-star monster, unless it has busted effects, you would just play the one with the biggest attack number or the biggest defense number, usually the biggest attack number. And when I was playing the game, 1800 was the biggest attack number. So like 4-star cards were 1800 attacks. And then they printed like Harpy Sisters, which was a 1900. Like I remember showing up against my friend who went off on a weekend to Target or to Zellers back at the time and got like Yu-Gi-Oh packs, and he dropped this like 4-star 1900, and I'm sitting there with my 4-star 1800 and be like, wait, I trade into you and I don't trade. I lose my the magic genie or whatever. And
Yeah, classic.
so frustrating. I was like, wait, they're gonna keep doing it, and then they printed a 1950 like months later, and I'm like, I'm out. Like as a kid, I'm like, I'm done.
No, see, but what you didn't understand at the time,
Yeah.
and I'll dig deeper into this, was that's not the only thing that was going on. So
Okay.
a 4-star monster at an 1800, I'm pretty sure Lajin had. I'm gonna go and say that it had 1,000 defense. So
That might be correct.
there was a combination, and I don't know what kind of math they did or if they did it, but like it seemed like there's a combination between attack and defense points that could put you at a 4-star. And if you went any higher, what they did usually was they just took defense points from the monster and just put it on their attack points. So
Which
later
doesn't
at the end of
matter,
no.
right?
But what I'm saying, is that we thought, oh yeah, like 1800 is just going to be the peak levels, and then we're like, oh wait, there's 1900. but like if when you looked back, you saw the pattern of, oh, these cards no longer have 1800 and 1000 defense. They now have like 1900 and 600 defense. Like as you said, doesn't matter in terms of defending,
They play,
right?
yeah. You don't defend with
But that
cards.
was their
Yeah,
kind of
nonsense.
out. Yeah, and to eventually when we got to the 4-star power creep, we had like 2200 and 0 or 1 defense, like
I
100
I
defense.
remember having like a 2100. It had really cool text. It was like the turn it attacks, it doesn't unexhaust for like 2 turns, like a goblin hit squad or something. Like they made cool cards that had like upsides and downsides. But then yeah, when it was just like linearly the numbers scaled up, it was like, I don't like this. Stop.
I think most of those ones did have downsides. Like once you got past 1900, like
I
they
don't
made,
know.
there's a power creep of 19. Yeah, Gemini Alpha's 1900. There's a
Yeah,
few
that's all.
other that were like 1900 and just solid. But once you got into the 2004 stars, there was some. I feel like some of them had like some downsides or whatnot. But yeah, I think that so I was going to ask you what format you're playing in, but I know
Assuming
that
that's
format
standard?
quite. No, I mean like what Yu-Gi-Oh format, like when were you
Like
playing?
what
And I
time?
know,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah,
yeah.
I know that format quite well. That I played in that. I like your same exact experience in terms of like, oh my god, like I play my 1800 monster and just get absolutely destroyed. Happened to me as well. Um, to where I had to go get those new 4-star monsters, which is cool. What year did you start playing Netrunner?
It must have been 2013 because Core Set came out 2012 for like Gen Con. And so I got into it. Yeah, it has to be end of 2013 is my guess.
2013. Okay, so obviously you wear or you've worn many hats.
Mhm.
But your early days were, if I can recall, were playing Netrunner, doing. I mean, you did start the like the voiceover commentary
Yeah,
and also coming pretty early. Like I definitely watched a lot of your like 2015 videos.
that's when it
Um,
started.
yeah, yeah. So you started that pretty early. So like I guess where I'm interested is like, okay, so you're learning the game, you're playing your, would you say you were competitive at that time? And then also how did you feel like you balance the starting up commentary and things like that at the same time?
Yeah, so I played Netrunner for about 2 years before I decided to make any sort of content, and the content kind of happened obviously intentionally, but, like, I never intended it to be what it is today, like, I guess most people don't when they start doing things. But when I went to university, and I went to university, originally to be an engineer, halfway through that, I transitioned to a computer science degree, but the short of the long, it took me, like, 6 years to get my undergraduate. It was, like, a long time. But luckily, when I was at school, I got involved in what was called TVM, the Student Television Network, and I learned a lot of skills about how to do video and to film and work with tech and software. And the video side of stuff was like really, really cool. So I got out of university and I was like, I'm gonna take like a year off to like explore some skills. Like I was in school for a long time. I have some money saved up from working. I'm just gonna do my own thing for a bit. And I picked up a camera, which is no joke, the camera I still use to live stream modernly. It's an old Canon XA20, I think is what it's called. And I was like, okay, I'm gonna try and learn motion graphics because I don't know how to use After Effects. The tool looks really good. And so I'm gonna just like record some Netrunner games. Like I'll bring this to regionals and store champs and whatever happens locally. And we used to have like a pop off, like there were so many store championships in Montreal. One year there was like 9 or 10. Like there was a lot of organized play going on. So I just brought it in a tripod and I just put the camera up and I didn't know what I was gonna do with it, but I brought the footage home and I just edited it. And I kind of went a bit hard on it. I was like, I'm gonna show every card, I'm gonna make this as accessible as possible. I'm gonna do like effects when people play cards. And it was mostly a way for me to learn the software so that I would have like hireable skills. And it was also kind of fun to do. And then I was like, okay, well, I have to do commentary, and things kind of, progressed from there. Where it's like, wait, this is really fun. People really want this sort of stuff. Um, it's totally worth knowing for context, right? Like back in the FFG days, Netrunner used to get like a product a month. We'd get data packs. So it was like 20 new cards a month. So like trying to keep track on what the meta was doing, the global meta, your local meta, like gameplay content with that, like that was so valuable because people, the next province over were doing something totally different, let alone the next month over, the game was like really different. So there was like this hunger. Not that there isn't today, but like it felt kind of different. Um, I wasn't for a long time, like I would say I was definitely somebody who wanted to win games, but I was also a player, and you can see this across a lot of the old content on the channel, that I would really go out of the way to bring weird stuff. I was somebody who never net decked. I hated net decking. I would always just do my own thing. And so like some of the first channel content on the channel where you see me playing at like a top cut at a regional, which was really good for me at the time. I'm playing like Titan Transnational with psychographics or mid seasons in it. Like it was Psycho Titan, which is like not a sentence a lot of people have ever said, but it was like the deck that I played for a long time. And that was like super common for me. It'd be like find a weird interaction that I really enjoyed, usually a Wayland deck, and then play that good enough to make top cuts, but never win a regional. And that's like where I was for a long time.
So there was that. There was a lot of, I mean, 2015, 2016, just a lot of great content. Shout out to your old host, Benoit.
Yeah. Benoit's
We
cool.
missed you, Benoit. And then obviously, you know, later on, Patrick came along.
Mhm.
But you, I don't know if this was an accident, right? But there is a specific time in my mind that you did net deck. You know which time I'm talking about?
Is this Cannets?
It is. Yes.
Yeah.
So we weren't really trying to, you know, we were like trying to win. We were trying to bring our own brews, but you know, Cadnats happened and you were a little busy, as I remember.
Yeah, I'm not sure
Or
why I
recall.
was. Yeah, that whole story is a bit bittersweet for a whole bunch of different reasons. Mind you, you can watch most of this footage. It is up on the channel, but Canadian Nationals, they almost always were in Toronto, and they were.
Mhm.
What hotel was it, Brandon? Do you remember? It's always like that same hotel.
So it's so funny. You say, Brandon, do you remember like I was there?
But this was before your time.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But it was the Holiday Inn hotel. It's
Yeah.
it's actually really funny now because I think it was one across from Yorkdale, which is actually the store, like the mall I work in now.
Oh, no way.
Uh, yeah, which is hilarious. I just wasn't there at that time, but like
Yeah, I thought you would know because it's like the cultural Netrunner hotel in Toronto.
well, now we're bougie, you know. Anything that like, you know, in Toronto is like downtown at like, you
Yeah.
know, yeah, you know. But back then, yeah, you know, it was just across the ways from the shopping mall. So, but yeah, 2016.
Yeah, so it was Canats. There was like 100 people, just about. It was a big event. And my expectations were to do okay. I brought two decks. One of them was like an account siphon wizard deck, which I do think was probably based on some sort of hate bears list at the time, but I do think was my own version of it. Mind you, wizard fun, very good. Account siphon recursion, really, really good, really gross. It was also like right after controlling the message came out. So there was like some really powerful cards in the meta that I don't think a lot of people had capitalized on or they've realized the power level. On my corp side, I brought this jammy HB deck that I've only had played a couple games before going to the event, and it was such a good deck. And there's unfortunately a very sad story about this. This deck was made by a Netrunner player in the UK named Maxi. Uh, yeah, I don't know if we want to exactly go into it right now on the podcast, but it's a very tragic story. Shout out to Maxi. There was like fundraising events and stuff like that over the next couple of years. I really hope everyone's doing okay. But that list was good. It just kind of spoke to me. It was like an HB Engineering the Future deck, so it was really smooth and it was really jammy. That was the deck was called. It was a jammy deck. And I played it and it went really, really well for me. Like I ended up in the finals of the event. And I only had to win one game. And unfortunately, my opponent is my Netrunner rival that, for those who have played Netrunner in Canada at some point, probably know Loper, Alex Loper, who is such a good Netrunner player. And I think to date, I've only beat him once in all my time playing against him. And the only way I beat him is I managed to do 36 net damage in a single run. Otherwise, I've always lost to him. And in the finals, it's recorded, and I play so poorly. Playing my first game against controlling the message, playing tag me Anarch. Oh God, it's like hard to watch. I really should rewatch it on the channel one time, but it's like some of the worst Netrunner ever put on tape. But that was my run. Got to the finals and just totally like threw it down the stairs at the end.
How many times do you think you've watched that?
Well, when you record it, you spend a lot of time watching it. And I do want to say, like, that's one
Mm.
of the reasons why I know I got a lot better at Netrunner is I spent so much time watching better players than me play Netrunner, spending time like realizing what they do click by click, turn by turn, and then you see, patterns. You see, you have to also talk about it. You spend a lot of time commentating, and
Mhm.
that was really useful. So even just watching my play, the more I watch it, the more I learn about like, oh my God, what are you doing? So I've probably watched that. I haven't watched it in years. And actually, like, it hurts to watch it. Like, I avoid watching it. It would be a bad day if I had to watch it, which maybe like we should all do it together on the channel at some point. But yeah, it's I don't want to watch it. I've seen it every like 3 years. And I have to remind myself okay. So on the corp side, it was like Valencia, blackmail, deja vu, same old thing. And so my only game plan is like biotic labor out an accelerated beta test, which is a 3-2 agenda that if you score it, you can rip 3 cards off the top of your deck. If any of them are ice, you can install and res them. Everything else goes into the archives face down.
Yeah.
And so my game plan is just like biotic ABT, hope I don't lose, because I can never have anything in the remote server. Because Valencia starts with bad publicity, and then there's like 9 cards, copies somehow of a card called Blackmail that says run a server. The corporation cannot res ice if you have bad publicity.
Yeah.
It's like just the worst Netrunner, and I'm there flailing in every direction.
I've watched it so many times.
Oh
Like
shit!
so many times. Like this is like these videos like were my early fuel. Like
Let's go.
I tell Blum all the time, it's just like, oh my God, like you were so integral of me being like I want to be that Netrunner player on that screen. I want to be in the top cut. I want to like do all the best moves, like all these things. And I would watch and be like, and then I would go back and be like, so like this was the deck list, like why does it look like this? Like what, and just kind of a lot of these videos, as you said, like, watching good Netrunners play. And it turned into like a study for me.
Yeah.
And I could go back and I could be like, this is why like this works. And not only like game to game or click to click or move to like, you see patterns, but you also see patterns over the years of like things that just work in Netrunner, and comparing, because I was like, by the time I started, some of these cards, like they were banned, they weren't playable, but I was like, this strategy or this concept or this, it still worked. And you can, the cards you have that you have, like you can put it together and still do a similar thing and have that work for you. But I've watched that so many times just because I was like, it was interesting to think about like what was going on, at that time, where, in some of these in like some of those like games in that top cut, there was like, oh, like this deck looks so much more dominant than this deck, but maybe that's just the matchup. Like it was so interesting to see all the different decks that kind of existed in that top cut, and we're like, was it homebrews? Was it people preparing for this and got this? It was very interesting. I think my favorite part of the Canadian Nationals watching it back is Shoeflower having to use
I know what this is.
use a fem to break vanilla.
Yeah, 9 cost
Like,
Sentry Breaker to break a 0 strength and the Unbearer. It was like it was the play. Unfortunately, I do think she could have. I think at some point, I don't know if it was like Mr. Lee or something, but there was some point where there was access to mutual favor equivalent, and then she didn't go for it, which like results oriented. But yeah, that was such a fortunate matchup for me. The way that she drew as terribly as she did.
yeah, that was wild. Like I remember the comments would be like, "You must have it now, right?" I was like,
Yeah.
"Ah, oh my God!" Yeah, no, that was super hype. $10, they had to break a zero.
Yep.
Zero strength ice. The Zoomers know nothing about that.
I do miss Fem. But I do want to say a couple things. It's like some of the older stuff, it's like still super parsable if you play modern Netrunner. Like there's a lot of content that, and I'm not saying this just to like pump channel numbers, but like there's a lot of stuff that like still makes sense. Like the Andromeda deck that Shu was playing, you could play that same deck today functionally. It's like still just like Sable It's run-based criminal. It all makes sense. I don't know. Netrunner's kind of cool like that
Yeah.
in some ways.
I feel like,
Yeah.
I feel like those decks are kinda even better than decks right now, often.
They might be. Yeah.
Especially from starting from like 2016 or something, I feel like.
Yeah,
Although
well,
the
at some
breakers
point,
were way worse. That's the biggest issue.
I don't know. I think right now we've come together. Actually, hey, that's good you say it. I do think this Cannats was 2016, not 2015. I'm
Yeah,
pretty
2016.
sure. Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
it was
But
2016. Yeah.
some of the breakers were like we were still playing Corroder unironically there, so like somehow that's good today. But yeah, maybe we're playing Zool. Maybe the Code Gate breakers in the criminal deck were actually no. Maybe we're in Yogg. I don't remember.
Mhm. Yeah, it switched, right? Like it
Yeah.
again, it depended on what you thought
Mhm.
that you were gonna play. Also,
Yeah.
what fit better into your deck, and they had what is it? The most wanted list. So it depends on how much this was points and stuff. It's a bit more complicated. To decide what you were building. I always tell Axel, like Axel would be like, why did they put this in? Why did they? I'm like, there was all kinds of stuff going on at that time that you don't know about. You know what I mean? But I think my favorite. Oh, this is gonna sound bad because like you have just the most awesome amount of like collection of content like ever. But like I think my favorite is your coverage of 2016 US Nats. Or
Oh yeah, it was
yeah,
the one at Origins, right?
Origins. Yeah,
Yeah, that was cool.
that was amazing. Like there's just so many things that happened. Like that was like there was the one in 16.
Yeah,
There was
that was Beep one. I'm pretty sure.
yes, there was the forgetting to ending with 3 cards in hand.
Yeah, there was like the
Yeah,
noted guy that was a meme for a bit.
okay, that was good.
They were good games. The finals were
APOC,
actually
APOC Shaper. That's the first time I've ever seen APOC Shaper like that. I was like, whoa, that's a concept that hasn't been tried. Let's maybe we try. And then
yeah,
like yeah,
6 years later wins worlds or
yeah,
whatever.
you're right. But yeah, it was so good capturing some of the best Netrunner players in history, like duking it out. And
Yeah.
you drove what, like 11 hours for that,
It
14
was
hours, something like
really cool. So that was like, yeah, I had the time at that point to do these sort of things. But Benoit, this is all Benoit. So Benoit was one of the owners of this like Randolph Pub Ludique. It's a board game cafe all across Quebec. I don't know if they've left Quebec, but they would always go to Origins, and so they would have a van, and it was him and his 2 friends and partners and kids, and they would drive down to Ohio. This was in Columbus, Ohio, I'm pretty sure, which is I think like 11 or 14-hour drive. And he was like, "Hey, we have an extra spot. Why don't you come? It's like totally free." And I had never been to a board game convention, let alone any convention really. And I was like, "Yeah, let's go." And so we went down there, we played. Then I brought my video equipment, we filmed it, and then the rest of the time was just like hanging out at a board game convention. Which like, oh my god, board game conventions are really fun. It was really good. We also did like more journalism stuff where like we interviewed people before, so you get to see like a much younger Andre with like questionable facial hair awkwardly going through an interview at the beginning of the game. But it's like cool. It humanizes the players, and a lot of those players are still playing, and some of those players are some of the best Netrunner players I've ever seen. It was really fun. I would do that again in a heartbeat. That was a great time.
Can you? I know, like going for like that is actually something I wish you would do more of. Like do that again. I
Yeah,
I missed that. Like that part was really cool because as someone who didn't know these players and I didn't really get a chance to meet some of them, later on watching the videos back, it's just like, oh, I feel like, like hearing their voice, hearing how they felt about that run, that sort of thing, their decks or whatever, explaining things like that part was really cool. And I was, it hasn't come together yet, but I was thinking of even doing a series like that myself, where how in the Yu-Gi-Oh days we'd have deck profiles, and so people would just come and talk about their decks, and you'd either put them on screen, or when you're at a tournament, you would sit someone down with the deck profile and the camera, and they would like talk
they
about
talk you through. Yeah.
yeah, talk you through. With Netrunner tournaments, it never seems like there's ever enough time to do all of that,
Yeah.
because that, like, but it's hard. But I would love to to figure that out, because I think that was, I don't know, it's such a big thing for me, just being a, audio person, where it's
Yeah.
like, yeah, like, Dean Tran was like, yeah, go on NRDB and look at all the lists and come back and tell me what you think. And I'm like, yeah, I could read certain things and like whatever, but like it didn't all come together just by reading it. But like when they talked about certain things and how things were, I was like, yeah, that speaks to me so much more, pun intended. And like, I wish we do some more of that and interview players in a like audio way,
I do
audio
miss
video way, I
doing
guess.
like not only do I miss that, I just miss doing table content, like paper content. It's been a while. What I've realized over the last couple of years is that the sort of events that like warrant bringing out a camera and having, cool organized play to film, at this point, those are the events I'm organizing. And always my priority is like make sure the event runs well. And then if you have any bandwidth, do content. Like I'm never live streaming my events because it's just too much. You can't do everything at once. Um, I know last year we had really unfortunate where we had a district and I filmed it, but it was like right before the launch of Elevation. So sometimes you get
Yeah.
stuck in that sort of like, oh, the meta rotates, so the content is not being cared about. Shout out to Diogen, unfortunately, because he won the thing and the footage hadn't gone anywhere. So like I don't know. It just seems trickier to film stuff these days, and I don't know what it is, but I do think a lot of it is I'm organizing stuff now more.
Well, two things. One, have you ever
Yeah.
considered maybe there's someone up and coming that's a young Andre that wants to, get into the film. You get an apprentice that can,
Yeah, yeah,
do the film stuff. And then secondly, I had a situation like that with you, I think, where was it maybe a couple times where it's like, oh yeah, the meta's kind of gonna switch. And I remember it was way back, it was pandemic times, and you and who used to run? Why am I forgetting that? They were at America Cons. Why am I blanking on their name?
they run.
Yeah, they ran you'd run those little G&K like 3 rounds, get some organized play in during the pandemic, and you'd have people like join the server, and we just play like 3 rounds. And I remember that I won the tournament on points. and I think like the meta shifted, so like it wasn't necessarily worth putting the content out, even though you said you were
Yeah.
going to. But then also young me was like, nah, Andre's not putting this out. He's just upset because I like neuroed and then I used the card to hit I've had worse out of his head and then neuroed him and he was so mad and he's not gonna put this content out.
I don't remember any of this.
And it was so funny because like I got like after that, like I remember Sad Stuck came on to like scolded me. I can't believe you did that. Was just so scummy. And I was like, what do you mean? That's just how you play Chronos yeah. And I
Cross
was
protocol,
like,
yeah.
Protocol, yeah, that's how you play. It's just like but
That's
I was
good.
like, I was waiting for weeks for that content to come out. I'm like, yo, I want to see myself like do well. I finally did well. Nope, no content. I was like, damn it.
It's
So
like
yeah,
it's true. It's heartbreaking. I've been there. I know I've also recorded my own stuff and be like, I don't have time to get this. But I feel so bad when like I ask people to be on camera, which like that is an ask. You play different on camera. You feel it's a different vibe. And then like you don't do anything with the content. It's like sometimes that's the reality of the matter, but like feels bad. Feels really bad. Also feels bad when it's like someone's deck list of the week and then you don't play it on stream. Like, oh man, there's always like expectations and you never feel like you're doing anything perfectly.
Yeah, or you just get one game that you hate playing.
Yeah, you do a bad job. That's the worst thing. I know we're changing topics here, but when you play
go
the deck
ahead.
list of the weekend, you do a bad job playing it, and then people are like, "This deck sucks." But actually, like the problem is you're the clown, and people think like if he can't do it, it's garbage. It's like, no, please don't look at me for the best example of how to play the deck list of the week.
No, there's worse. There's worse than that. It gets worse. Okay, people, you have to understand. It gets worse. Andre's being very. Listen, there was a time, and I went. Oh my god, another time. I was absolutely feeling myself. Like I am back from Germany. I just got second at German Nats with the most toxic deck. You know what I mean? I was
No.
I was like, yep. controlling the bladder. It was nasty. Got deckless of the week. I'm like, yeah, I'm deckless of the week. Like, I'm feeling it, right? Andre goes on and like playing the deck. And not only is Andre playing, it's like, do I keep this? Like, I don't know what to do. Da 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 da. He's like, not only is he playing it, I would say subpar, but then he calls me out on stream and he's like, Brandon, I don't even know what you were thinking with this. Like, I don't even know what you were doing. How did you even win games with this? I was like, oh!
Just to be clear, it's because I would only do that because I know you well. Like I'm not gonna do that to the average person.
Correct. Like,
Yeah. Okay.
That's a
Cool.
good disclaimer. This is, if everyone. This is not to make Andre into a monster. This is all for fun.
Good.
This is all fun. And I was like, oh my god! And I was like, damn, because I was like, yo, my time to shine. And Andre's like, nah, and you know what? I should have known.
Yeah.
And we'll get into this. I should have known that, like I didn't know it yet, right? But I should have known that you would join the other side. You would become a snare bear. I should have known. It was right there in front of me the whole time.
That's not what I was getting at. But like, if you have a Netrunner DB decklist of the week that's about spamming bladder warts, and you expect me and the world to be excited about it, like, I don't know. That's probably not going to happen.
Not excited. It's not excited. It was the fact that you questioned the deck legitimacy, and I was like, no, you're not using the NASX like properly. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's true.
You gotta go up and down. You gotta like.
Did you write that in the deck write-up? Like, is this on me or is this on you?
Like, in my opinion, here's my thing, and how I saw it. Okay, is that like, Andre is one of my idols. He like, at this point in his career, at this point in his career, I felt like you should be able to read cards and like deduce how they go together. And
so what's the point of the box on the right?
You do that many times.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
So
yeah,
that was
I'll take that.
Right. That was kind of my thinking. And then when things started, like shit started to hit the fan, I was like, now, in fairness to you, the first time you jump in, I'm pretty sure it was like against like Rozeki Shaper, which is like the nightmare match of the deck. But still, I was like, I remember I knew it was gonna go south the moment like you mulliganed the keepable hand, and I was like,
oh, wrong.
oh no. But going backwards a bit. So 2016, like Canadian Nationals, obviously a lot of up and down feeling, like very turbulent. But like going forward past that, right?
Yeah.
Like, were you like, ooh, I'm gonna pursue this further, because again, you're still doing the the content, and if you're not doing the content, who is doing the content? Like in our area, and maybe you travel to the States and things like that. Like, so how do you feel like you kind of balance, like being like, oh, I want to do well at these tournaments? Did you pick, some tournaments you were going to compete, some you were going to do content? Like, how did that all, going from there?
Yeah, so my relationship with competitive play is like really weird, and it's something that I've like been able to see change over the last, again, at this point, nearly a decade. So specifically in 2016, there was this old website called accu.net, and it was a place that you could post events and you could put deck write-ups and stuff like that. It wasn't super popular, but it also tracked player stats, kind of like a modern Beanstalk, but less mathematic. And it tracked the players in like France, Belgium, and Canada for some reason. And so every time you went to an event, you got a certain amount of points based off the size of the event and your placement. And my goal for 2016 was to hit the top of the leaderboard. And I did. That was my best Netrunner accomplishment, is to be the top ranking Canadian Netrunner player in 2016. And if you look at the leaderboard that's still up, it's really, really funny, because the big way that I got there was going to so many events. Like, it tells you how many events you've been to, how many points. And I went to like 32, 34 Netrunner events. The person underneath me is Loper, the Canadian national player. He went to like 6 events and comes in second, because winning Cannats is so important for the scoring. But like, there's a huge jump there, the two of us, I think. And then there's a lot of other fantastic players who also go to a lot of organized play. But in 2016, I started feeling this, where like I had to go to events and I enjoyed going to events, but I wanted to do it because of leaderboard reasons. But also I had this weird pressure where like because I'm making content and I'm filming myself, I both need to perform well and I also need to play things that are interesting, right?
Mm.
Like it, whatever the Hoshiko equivalent was back there. Like if I just play, 30 games of Reg Hoshiko
Valid.
on the channel, that usually doesn't do it. Like people want to see the breadth of the card pool. So I would have to go out of the way to play weird stuff. And then you get this sort of mounting pressure you realize where like enough people are looking at you and looking at your results. And then you think that there's some correlation between how excited people are to watch your content versus how competitive a player you are, that I would say maybe it becomes slightly unhealthy where like then you start like I start playing more net decks and then like I start enjoying competitive netrunner a bit more, which like nothing wrong with that. Competitive netrunner is great. But over the years there was like this weird progression where I start realizing like, okay, I'm gonna play less. I'm gonna do more commentary instead. I'm gonna compete less. Um, and I think the sort of like expectations, like everyone has their own personal expectations of how they want to do an event, but then I feel like I had public expectations of how people expect me to do an event. It's like the sort of thing where you go up to someone and say like, "How'd you do the event?" And you say, "I scrubbed out," and they're like, "Oh, like they expected you to do better." I reckon like everybody in this call still gets that, regardless of how you do an event. You know what I mean? Like I don't know. I started experiencing that a long time ago, and if you ask me modernly, like I barely play competitive runner. I'm more organizing or commentary and that sort of stuff. And I don't know. I don't think my relationship with it is like very good.
I wanted to bring it up because I maybe a lot of your like our listeners, but like your newer fans,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
Don't know how much of a beast you were back in the day. Like
That's very kind.
no. It's not all very kind, okay? Because it's one thing that I argued on a pod a long time ago when I was talking about touch-ups. And I
Yeah.
remember when you first were talking about touch-ups, and I'm like, Andre was talking about touch-ups and the way that he was talking about touch-ups. I'm like, let me tell you about this man, all right? Okay, this is the person who would play Titan and bring mid seasons into his Titan, and people would get absolutely destroyed. Okay, do you remember the time when you came to a tournament? We're talking about this on the line, like, oh, you were doing commentary over, like, it happened already, and then
Yeah.
you would just commentate over it. And you came to an event with APOC Max, and you were like, yeah, so first round I played against my friend, and he thought I was gonna be playing Geist, and then like last minute I changed, and he didn't know about the siphon and APOC in my deck.
Oops. Oh no.
I'm like, listen, when Andre was competing, he was competing. Okay. All the cards that were, oh my goodness, at the time, Andre was playing them. Okay. When it came to Andre knows power. Okay. I just wanted to get that out there so your fans know that when you were doing this, you oh boy, Andre's not someone you wanted to sit across from. In fact, all
Yeah.
right. And this is probably a sour moment for you, and I don't like this, like, but it's part of the story, and I have to bring it up. Uh, Canadian Nats, not this past year, the year
Oh,
before,
last year, yeah.
last year, yeah. And I'm like, bro, it's fucking Andre. Like, I listen, people don't know, people don't know, but I know. ID, absolutely ID. Please, please, like, not this way. You know, I know. I listen. I've seen you play as. I know what that's capable of. I know you know all the Geist tricks. I don't want anything to do with that. I want nothing to do with that. I was like, no, thank you. And so yeah, like when you're watching Andre's content, and sometimes there's instances where he's forced to play Shaper. Just know that like it's not what it looked like. Andre is a beast, and if he decided to pick up competitive at runner right now and just go all in, you wouldn't know what hit you. I just want your newer fans to know that.
That's very kind, Brandon. Can I take a moment to explain this Catnat story? Because I think it's like a very learnable story. And I also think it's like, it was the last time that I thought, like, okay, I'm going to go back and play competitive, right? Like, I'm going to go in, I'm going to go to an event, and I'm going to win the event. So Canats was ran in Toronto. This was not this year, the last year. It was a great event. We had like, I want to say 50 people. And I bring an Az deck, which actually for the meta at the time was good. It's not the obvious like tier one optimal thing to do, but it's a thing that I play well that against the HB meta that was expected at the time felt pretty great. And then on my runner side, I was playing, this was Man in the Moon, Shoot the Moon sort of PD deck, which was a very cool deck. It just came out. A lot of people didn't know how to play against it. So it was like just taking wins off of people. And so I prepped for the event. I practiced, I tuned my deck, I called the meta right, and I had these 2 decks that I brought in. And I play my first like this for some reason. This was like the last. I don't know. Okay, this is organizational reasons, but this was double-sided Swiss. This event, and we were already in a world that was not playing double-sided Swiss. So this is still to date, barring like team tournaments, the last double-sided Swiss tournament I've ever played. And when it comes to double-sided Swiss, you get all these weird artifacts with like IDing matters, but 2-for-1ing matters. So like it is all the joys and all the pitfalls of double-sided Swiss we have to experience again. I don't want to besmirch the organizers. The organizers did a great job. It was a phenomenal event, but it was DSS is why I'm bringing this up. But I play my first 3 rounds. I sweep around. I split around a very well fought round against Sadstug, and then basically at this point, the math says I can ID my next like 3 or 4 rounds, where I just say like, "Do you want to ID?" We shake hands and we each get a win. So you go 1-1 instead of someone getting swept. And last round was against Brandon, and Brandon was like, "The math says we probably can ID and we'll both make it." And I didn't, again, like Brandon, I don't think I wanted to play against you if I could avoid it. Like you were playing Kill Asmari, which like I'm an okay matchup, but I didn't have that much experience to Kill Asmari. It was relatively new. But the problem is I didn't make the top cut. This was the first nationals I went to where I didn't make the top cut. So that was a bit of an ego hit. I was 0.1% off of strength of schedule to make it. But the thing that I learned is that I needed to admit to myself that I was there to compete. So when it was round 4 and it was like a matchup that I was very favorable into, and it was like Hoshiko into my HB fast advance, Man of the Moon thing, I should have taken that matchup because I'm like 80% favored in it if I play it at the skill and the matchup that I think I can play it in. But I decided to ID because that was the nice thing to do. And like in hindsight, I should have realized like, hey, Andre, you were here to compete. You don't need to ID. You can win. You can make the top cut. And I didn't do that. And I didn't end up making the cut. But yeah, I think that's what I realized. It's like if I understand I want to compete, I have to compete 110%. Competing 80% and then just hoping to make the top cut makes no sense for me, and I deeply regret what I did.
I 100% agree. I've learned those lessons.
Yeah, I haven't.
I think well, no. I mean, like even then, right? Like because the same tournament, same thing. I'm in the same position of like, okay, we can ID, we should both make it, and it could have potentially been that the people that I played lost, and I'm in your position. But again, I took an ID in the earlier rounds where I was probably favored, should have just played, and would not have been in that situation anyway, right? Like same sort of thing. And I've had other tournaments where it's like you play one. I mean, Worlds against. I remember this was 2021. I take an ID against Ghost Meat second last round. Anything could have happened, obviously, but I think I should have played, and how they were speaking about things let me know also that I should have played. Like they were more fearful of the matchup than I was.
Yeah.
And I probably should have played, and who knows, that could have led to a different result, making the cut, not making that sort of thing. And so I think it's not always as simple as doing the math and then being like, okay, I can ID, but you also have to like look at the matchups, and also, yeah, as you mentioned, compete, right? Like what's going to put you in the best competitive position, or position to do your best. Is it IDing here, or is it getting a few more points here in this favorable matchup for you, and then having your choice of side in the cut, or whatever the case may be, right? Like I used to think, like when I was like, oh, I just want to make a cut, that making the cut was the be all end all, and I was going to be like, okay, I win some games and then ID my way in, and yay, I'm one of the top dogs. I made the cut. Look at me. But as time went on, I realized that is definitely not the way. You should compete and try to do your best, and doing your best means that in situations you're going to have to win a few more games to put yourself in a better. But yeah, I didn't like that it came down to us two, and honestly, yeah, the math ended up being very
Yeah, like
unfortunate.
I don't regret not like I don't regret IDing against you. I think it was probably still the right thing to do. It's just like I should have not ID'd earlier. I came there to win. Last round ID, that makes sense. I should not have ID'd like round 4. That's silly.
Mm.
Right, same here.
Mm. I mean, double-sided Swiss was kind of fucked up.
No, but it
Yeah,
was clear.
I don't love DSS, I'll be honest. You might not have heard that from me, but I don't love it.
No, but I think especially in Andre's position, you go
Mm.
because there was 5 rounds of double sided Swiss, and when you go XO through 4-1s, X1 through or X4, sorry, 4-0 through 2 rounds, and then like X1 through 3 rounds. It actually matters. Like if you're going to compete and you're looking to win, the difference between 6-2 and putting yourself in an awkward position, or if you think you have a chance to sweep, like putting yourself at 7-1 is a huge difference.
Mm.
It's just
Yeah.
it's pretty big, yeah. And even me, I'm X1 through the same 3 rounds and choose to ID, and I should have shot for the moon and just been like, yep, if I can win both of these, I'm 7-1 and we're good, and then we get to like pick our matchup. We're gonna be top, you know what I mean? Like all kinds of good. So yeah, I mean, I made the same mistake as well. And it almost cost me because I was in 7th. I was not. It wasn't like I was clear,
Mm.
And if I
Yeah, it's squeaky.
won, right? If I won one more round, like I'd be top half, and thing again, it changes things, right? But so I want to go to my second. I think my second favorite content. I don't know. Maybe there's other ones I'm not thinking of, but like, your
It's okay.
your coverage of 2017 Can Nats. And I think this also helps just because Andy versus Moons was just some of the most awesome Netrunner I've ever seen. So good. It was just there was just so much power everywhere. It was insane. Like it was crazy, and there was crazy like there's good strategy and just like knowing what needed to be trashed, not need to be trashed, what moves to make. When do you pop the moons? How much do you draw? All kinds of good stuff. So like, and it was the second last tournament before rotation.
Yeah.
And you through so many rotations at this point, right? But this is the first big one. I guess if you remember, you can speak on like that tournament and like how that was like being, the tournament before rotation, and then your first rotation. How was that for you?
These are unfortunately the questions I'm gonna be pretty bad at answering because I don't think I remember this stuff very well. 20 so I don't even remember Canada's 2017. There was a couple of them that I just joined the VTTV crew were streaming them and I came just to do commentary.
Mhm.
Some of them I
Yes.
only joined for the top cut, so like I wasn't super plugged into the meta. I think that was like in the top cut back then there was like people were playing Scorpio stacks. Like there's some mean stuff out of there as well. Um all I can say, and like this kind of came up earlier, is Moons versus Andy. If anyone's played that or seen that, I remember that was like the best thing you should be doing. This was an Engineering the Future deck that played this totally busted card called Estelle Moon that came out in Terminal Directive, which was a really weird product.
Mhm.
And it just allowed you to draw so many cards while building new servers, which turns out that's really, really good. So you built this like run-based criminal that wanted to touch and trash the right things to try and keep up. And it was this really interesting game of back and forth. Lakshmi Smart Fabrics, I believe, was also in that deck. And that was also a really unique card with a lot of ways that you can interact with it. It's a card that you have to protect on the table by resing things, but also keep agendas in HQ. Like very, very cool card, but very, very strong card as well. And I hated it. Like I remember just like playing my tier 3, whatever goofy deck, exile deck I'm playing against this
Mm.
moon deck and just getting like totally beat up. And then deciding, you know what, F it. I'm gonna start playing Wizard. I'm gonna start playing Andromeda. And then you start playing the deck. And then you realize when the two of you are playing equally footed in high power level, oh my God, is Netrunner so good? Because now the decisions matter so much that
Mm.
you have to like thread the line. Sure, the lines might be really, really narrow and you can like make one mistake and feel that you're very far behind. But it was one of the few matchups where like I could play 100 games of Moons versus Andy and still be learning stuff and still having a good time. I think fondly of those games as much as that meta did get a bit homogenous on that side.
Yeah, those were the days of like, I guess 2 deck formats and then some rogue stuff.
Yeah.
But
Mm.
those were great games to watch, and you were commentating, and I believe Mikhail was commentating, um, and that was super fun, especially to finals being Dean Tran or Canadian Hope. Try to get that Canadian Nationals won
Against
by a
Josh?
Canadian. Yeah, yeah.
Ah, yeah, that makes sense.
That was a sweet matchup. Um,
Josh was cool. I played a lot of good games against Josh. He was an American who traveled up. I believe he was from Ohio. Maybe that's not right, but like,
Mm.
yeah, the
no,
guy was very, very smart.
yeah. So okay, we move on. 2018. And game's dying. Game
Yeah.
game kind of dies. So this is where it's funny because I really like at the end of the year before that I buy into the game and I'm
Yeah.
super excited and then game dies. But going through that, this game you put so much time into playing, but also content wise,
Mm.
right? Um, and you find out the game does like what was that like for you like at that time?
Yeah, it was sad. It was really heavy. You can watch the stream where I think me and Pat talk about it. I'm pretty sure I nearly like cry throughout the stream. It was like pretty rough. It was I remember this like very, very this one I remember because I was at work. I had been working in the video game industry for about a year. And my job in the middle of June is to go travel to E3, which that was a thing we used to do, right? And travel and film and do all that. So it's already a really stressful, busy couple weeks getting ready to travel. And I remember just getting this article on fantasyflightgames.com, which used to be a website you would kind of refresh every day, every week, because it was news all the time. And it announced the end of Neverwinter. And it hit me. It's like unbelievable. I remember being at work, being like, hey, I just need to go outside and go for a walk for a bit. And I just kind of left. I went for a walk and I came back later.
Mm.
And I think the thing that was the saddest about it, it's like not that the game wouldn't get more cards, which is fine, right? Like you can still play Neverwinter, it would still be good. It was actually the thing that hit me. It's not also about the channel growing, like, oh, you put so much time, the channel's not gonna be a thing anymore. Like that's okay. The biggest thing that got me was like travel. And this is something I think people have been realizing over the last couple of years now, kind of post-pandemic, where people are going back to organized play, is I have so many good memories of getting into a car, driving, 14 hours to Ohio, driving to Toronto, driving to Ottawa, like going to Minnesota. So much of Netrunner was an excuse to go to places to meet people that cared about this game. Like the Netrunner community, as you probably know if you're listening to this, is incredible. And it wasn't that we wouldn't get like, new spin doctors or like, that
Mm.
wouldn't happen. It was like I no longer have an excuse to go hang out with folks. And that was the part that hit me by far the hardest.
I think we talk about on this stream like almost if not every episode, not every episode, almost every episode.
Mm.
Go play competitively. It's like go to places for Netrunner. It's the best thing that'll ever happen. The people are amazing.
Yeah.
There's just so many memories. Like just so many things that happen, so many good times, so many laughs, like all kinds of things.
It's the best.
And
Mm.
it is simply the best. There's nothing else like it. And honestly, when I talk to people who are not in the game, like play card games, they're like, "So you go to this thing and you play cards?" And I'm like, "Yeah." And I'm like, and I get to go to all these places and do all these things, and it's and they're like, "Yeah." So like, and I'm like, "Yeah, I have so many friends in this place, that place, this place." They're like, maybe I'll think about like getting into this, like because it's actually that 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 community that like being able to travel and all those things that come with going to Netrunner events that are just simply amazing. And I'm so glad and happy and grateful for Netrunner because when I was doing sport and I would travel, it wasn't the same because I was there really just for sport, and a lot of times it was kind of there's more in and out. You
Yeah.
came, you did your what you need to do to prepare for the race. You raced, you maybe had a day, and then you were gone. You know, and you could. It wasn't like I could go drink with my friends or whatever. Like I was competing. Like so. It's not like I could go to, whatever. I mean, sometimes we broke the rules, but that's a story for a different day. But I think, yeah, that in my mind would be like the hardest thing is just feeling like you're going to lose all of that.
Yeah.
Because it's not the game anymore. Like the game is great, don't get me wrong, but it's so much more. Yeah, it's so much more than the game. And I like over the past 2 years when I've now just forget Netrunner. Like if Netrunner is part of what we do, sure, but I've traveled to Europe to visit friends, all of it, and like Netrunner is very small portion of it now. Like in terms of hanging out with your friends and things like that, because of the friendships I've built and places I got to go and stuff like that. It's so much more than just the game of Netrunner now. It's crazy.
Yeah. Well, it felt like every month that we had a good excuse to get like 6 people in a car and then drive down to Gatineau or to Ottawa or to Toronto. And it was just like that's what we did. It was like every month there's at least 1 or 2 excursions. And like, the 6 hour drive from Montreal to Toronto is something I'm used to for doing that a fair bit of my life. But like when you did that with Neverwinter players, it was like felt like a 2 hour drive. Like it's just the best. It's so nice. Oh, also, I just want to really quickly out of technicality, Brandon. I totally agree with everything you said, but I think you called it competitive Netrunner. I just want to say that when we say that, I think we mean organized Netrunner, right?
Oh yes,
You
absolutely.
know what I mean? Like,
good catch. No, good catch.
because that's the thing that I'm always trying to say. It's like, it's one thing when people say, like, do you want to get involved in competitive play? That shit doesn't matter. What everybody wants you to do is get involved in organized play. Like, my first 3 years of Netrunner were not competitive, they were organized play. Just get an excuse to meet people, right? Like, that's all that anybody wants.
No, that is okay. I want to let everyone know that is what I mean.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean.
And I should use that because that is confusing if that's not clear. But yes, that is exactly what I mean. Play more organized play a lot of organized Netrunner. Do like go and meet people, go and have fun, and yeah, just keep doing that. It's very good. So then no signal comes around. The game is alive again. I mean, technically, because of how things happened, the game didn't really end up dying, which was great. And so comes around, we're playing again. There's new cards again. All kind of things happen, and then, then the dark times happen. Through the pandemic, what was that like for you? Just like Netrunner life, what like kind of all that? What was that like?
There's a very easy chance that this is gauche. But like the pandemic went okay for me overall. Like, my situation was okay, luckily. The health of loved ones and friends was okay. Like, this is why I mean this is very easily gauche. But I was spending more time at home, and I am a homebody. My lovely partner, she moved in, so it wasn't very lonely. It's really quite nice. Then I started streaming. Like as long as the channel's been around for about a decade. I haven't been streaming for maybe half of that. So I started doing regular Thursday night streams, and then I started streaming more and more, understanding that like people are stuck at home. Like why not we all just hang out together? And that was actually really nice. Like a lot of people were getting into the game because it started getting more accessible. Obviously, like going out and playing organized play wasn't a thing, but online tournaments were kind of popping off. People just wanted a space. They needed that, like, that third space, a digital third space. And so it felt like a lot of the community like used Netrunner as this escape. And I was very like lucky to be part of that. I wouldn't say I look back on it fondly, but like it could have been so much worse.
Yeah.
At least, this is a fortunate take for sure. Hope everyone's doing well. But it was nice. I really enjoy streaming. I had been streaming for a while, and then I continued to stream more and streamed like during afternoons on Tuesdays when I was doing content sort of full time. And all that sort of happened because I realized like, oh, streaming, the more you put into it, the more you get out of it. And I also think the audience gets more out of it the more you put into it too.
Indeed. Yeah, like the Thursday streams, and then there was a time where there was Thursday and Tuesdays. No, where there's Thursdays and Sunday. There was a lot. It was a lot. It was a lot of goodness, and like being able to get you. I don't know how all this technology. It's funny because I work for a tech company, but like no, like technology, like don't ask me about it. you know, so I don't know how they got you to like remotely commentate from halfway across the world, but they'd get you to do things like that. And I'm like, oh yeah, Andre's commentating. Oh, where is he? Oh no, he's commentating from. So I'm like, sure, dog, you do what you do, like, you know that man, it was amazing, and I think from doing short time that I've been doing the podcast, some of the comments you're like, whoa, like the way that you're able to affect people's lives and touch them in ways that I never thought possible. Having streams like this and stuff like that where you all hang out like in dark times for people. I mean, must have been like the fact that you were able to do that is just it was great.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's like I don't know. It seemed poor. Like I don't want to say it seemed important, but it was like the thing to do. Like everyone wanted to be in the same space, and I was again very lucky to be a person who was able to do that, so people could come in and hang out.
So I want to get into some modern stuff.
Yeah.
you know, I guess my first question is it true you do coaching?
Not anymore. I used to. I used to do coaching back when I was doing content full time. So I have a Patreon, and one of the tiers was a coaching tier, so that we'd have a 2-hour session every month. And then there's people who did that outside of that who wanted more coaching. It was something I did for about a year and a half, and it was cool. I think coaching, like Netrunner, is honestly kind of tricky in terms of getting feedback, whether you're doing something right or wrong. The game's not always the best at telling you what you're doing right or wrong for what reason. Sometimes you're playing bad, sometimes your deck is bad, sometimes your priorities are bad, and you need all of those to be good, and that's really hard. So I was coaching for a bit. I was coaching two camps of people who are just kind of getting into the game, who wanted to like quickly figure the game out, and then coaching people who are competitive players who are struggling to get like the next jump in success. It's not something I do anymore just because time is really difficult. I don't have like time slots. It would only be like, oh, I'm only available Wednesday nights between this time and this time. And I'd rather now at least put that energy into like coaching publicly on the stream. But it was cool. It was fun. I
Uh,
hopefully folks got a lot out of it. I know I did as well.
of course, when I need a coach, you're not available. Of course.
I don't know. Right now, like honestly, no joke. I don't feel right now in Netrunner confident enough to offer coaching services. Like if you asked me a year ago, a meta ago, yeah, 100%, I can tell you what to do. Right now, I can give you good fundamentals how to get better at Netrunner. I mean, you abstractly, not you, Brandon, or you, Axu. Um, but like I feel less plugged in than I probably should be to offer that service.
Right. Yeah, because you got a job.
Yeah, I don't have the 100 AUCO games you need, right? Like the meta is different.
Yo, listen, people, get your 100 Ayuku games in, okay?
It helps.
Uh, so, and you both have to tell me if this is wrong to ask because I have no idea. I'm gonna go on the assumption that because it was public, I could ask this, but like maybe I can't, and maybe we just have to cut this out. But like, can I ask you about the Patreon tiers, like, and what those were? Is that wrong? Like, so you mentioned that, like, okay, there was a tier that you could get to get coaching,
Yeah.
right? What can I ask? What your Patreon tiers were? Like, how much
Like
they
what it
were?
cost?
Yeah, is that a thing?
Yeah, that's fine. It's publicly available. So I set these prices up when I set a Patreon, which is like now 2 years ago, 3 years ago. And the coaching session was 50 Canadian for 2 hours of coaching per month. I think in hindsight, I am undercharging probably. I know people modernly,
Yeah.
and you could argue that better players are paying more for that. On top of that, Patreon takes a cut. On top of that, like the amount of effort for scheduling, and then I used to send people video replays. Like it takes way more than the 2 hours that is written on the tin. So I think if I do it again, I would probably charge more. I was also like, whenever I do Patreon stuff or stuff in general, like I don't come at this at like a sort of I'm making a business angle, which for somebody who's trying to make content full time back then was probably not the right way to look at these
Yeah.
things. Like I probably should have been a bit more aggressive, but I also wanted to make sure like education was somewhat accessible. But yeah, that's what I was charging back then. I never updated the price, so 2 years of inflation, you can do the math. But Yeah, I know modernly, like if you hear that number, I don't want to say that number because I know people right now are charging more for services, and I do think whatever they're charging makes sense. I think I was maybe undercharging. It's not available anymore, so I don't feel gauche saying this. Okay.
Right. That's cool. I remember kind of hearing about it, and I was like, oh, I didn't even know that was a thing. And I was like,
Yeah, it was limited slots, and they filled really quickly. There were some people that did that outside of the slot system, but yeah, it was like only a handful of people.
what made you become a snare bear?
Oh wow. Generally they were just really nice folks. Have known a lot of them for a long time. And they're great folks. They're great Netrunner players. I've had a lot of opportunities to hang out with them, and we just kind of get on. Like at the end of the day, it's just like a group of people you'd like to call friends. Whether you're all competitively like minded the same way, that obviously helps. But it's like they were just nice folks, and at some point they're like, hey, do you want to do this? I think it was also like really, to me, joining a testing team was kind of a big jump. Like there was a chance that if I was asked to join a testing team, I might have had said no at one point in time. And that's because I valued being like a neutral party when it came to doing commentary and stuff like that. Like and I don't think this has changed too much, but I worry it has. And I just won't know about this because I won't know about this. But for a long time, people would come up to me at Worlds, and regardless of like what testing team they were on or not on, they would tell me what they were playing. They would tell me their fears. They would tell me their strategies. They would do all of this because they knew at the end of the day, I would just use that to help form better commentary and like, make more interesting content out of it. And I valued that. Like I really valued not being attached to any team. I do want to say, and I'll always say this, and you can ask anybody in the Snare Bears, if you tell me anything in confidence competitively when it comes to like, when I was doing coaching with people, when I was like hearing from people talking at tables for commentary worlds, like that stuff does not get shared. If it's any beneficial to Snare Bears, I will, this stuff gets compartmentalized really well is all I'm saying. But yeah, I don't know. I was like kind of concerned to join a testing team because like neutrality seemed to matter for someone who did like commentary as much as I did.
I don't know if you know this, but there was a brief time where Unbanned thought about it,
Thought about what?
wanting to bring you in.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah,
That's
that was
very
the
funny.
thing. I was like, I remember being like decently in favor, but it's not something that ever kind of got past the first, like a conversation. But like, there's probably other testing groups that probably were like, what if we bring Andre? Like, you know what I mean? And but also knowing that, like, like, don't get it twisted, people. There's a beast of a Netrunner player in there. Hey, don't forget. Don't forget.
Thank you, Brandon. I don't play competitively, so like even asking me to join a
mm,
testing team like seems kind of silly. And for what it's worth, I do not think I pull my weight when it comes to the testing team I'm in. I think Axu has called himself and myself like a marketing angle or something. I forget the term, but it got a good laugh out of me. And like there might be some truth to that. But it's just like a group of nice folks, and I'm happy to hang out in a Discord.
yes, definitely. I remember the like when it kind of first was like, Andre went to the cabin with Snare. I'm like, no. I was like, hold on, no, I can't, no. So like, Andre, I obviously we love you, but like you sometimes the choices you make, all right, are here, being on the other side. No, I think it's interesting because being in I think when people think of testing groups, they just think of jamming the most games or getting support with playing Netrunner or like, but like there is that friendship, doing other things like if your testing group is that or goes into that, like it can be just like, yeah, a group of, as you said, good folks, and you have fun and you get on Discord and you do a whole bunch of things.
There was somebody left a really good comment on the last YouTube with Chris in it, where their comment was like, I think testing teams are stupid. Anyways, I'm just going to hang out with a bunch of friends and play some Netrunner games. Oh, wait. Very good comment. But that's like, for most people, that's how it is. They think testing teams are just silly. And then they just realize, wait, you're always playing games with the same people. Like, you just built a testing team. You just didn't know about it. It's like, it's natural. It just happens. It's fine.
Why'd you let the cat out of the bag? Now everyone knows they're part of a testing team. Now we're
Exactly. Just
not.
give yourself a name. You're good.
No, we used to be elite. Now we're nothing. It
Yeah,
used to be the sad thing. I'm part of this testing group, but now you let the cat out of the bag. Everyone was part of a testing group the whole time. They didn't know.
you just need 2 people. Your testing team. Just come up with a cool name. You're good.
Yeah, that's it. It's literally all it is. Um, actually, I feel like you had some questions you wanted to drop here. Am I wrong?
I can bring that up a bit later.
That's ominous.
We can
It
close.
actually is ominous. This is. I wanted to drop it in here, but Axel's like, nah, I'm gonna sit on it. I'm gonna sit on it. Oh God, that's so good. So now, like obviously you have the job, streaming has to scale back and things like that, but like plans kind of going forward as far as content, streaming, that sort of thing.
I don't plan a lot when it comes to this, for
Mm.
better or for worse, mostly for worse. I don't know. It's like I'm always comfortable doing what I've been doing before. I think I probably should push myself and try and do a bit better or a bit different. Like there's something to that for sure. I miss the days where I was doing more full-time content, that's for sure. That was really satisfying, but it doesn't seem to be entirely sustainable. Huge shout out to everyone who supports the channel though. Like, oh my God, that's incredible. So I'm still trying to make it make sense, to try and do more of it. It's just a bit of a struggle, but well, the struggle's not the word. It's just there's a lot of competing priorities, of course. Yeah, I don't know. We've just been streaming, Thursday nights. I want to have more time for video content. Right now, it's that weird time where like we're deep in off meta month by the time this, I believe, comes out, and we're hopefully getting some new cards relatively soon. So it's kind of the quiet off season, let alone holidays are coming up. So the channel usually like winds down a bit here. I don't know. Once a new set comes out, like you know how I am. I'm hype. Take a whole week off of work or whatever, just to stream like for 7 days straight or whatever it is. Like it comes and it goes. It ebbs and flows, which I think is kind of natural.
Yeah, exactly. Like we all need an off season. I've been actually taking more of an off season than I have in the past.
Why do you think?
I think when like as someone who's like very rah competitive netrunner in your face about it, that sort of netrunner takes a lot of time to do well, in my opinion. Like at least for me.
I've heard how you come at testing. Like I know what you mean.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. And so, and so when you go from seasons, like when you go mega city, okay, we need to win one of these mega cities so we get to buy content. We need to, if we can win one of these continentals, we need to. So we're going like when it's like May through, or even districts to mega city. Like you're going from February, March through October to like do your best. And that takes a lot of time, like just lifetime.
Sure.
Away from your partners, friends, like family, whatever. Like it's time that you're spending on everybody. You could be doing something else essentially, and like you weren't, And so I was like, yeah, I'm gonna. I play here and there, obviously to stay sharp, but like we're gonna dial it back. Plus, having the podcast now, it's like okay, that's another set of time, and like I think it's also important to just give your brain like a rest.
Yeah.
I felt like there was times where I'd play, and I'd have been playing a long time, and I remember when this would happen when I used to run track and field. Is there was just a burnout of your like when I was in track, there's a burnout of your body when it was like, okay, I've raced a lot this season, and it's time to now go back into just training, or maybe take a week off, and then just get slowly back into it, whatever, and just give your body a rest. Here, I feel like it's your mind. When I start to just like not play well, like I just make poor decisions, like the fundamentals start to go. It's just like I'm not. I'm not on right now. We need rest. So I've just been like, yeah, I'm gonna commit to resting the brain. I think I'm also gonna commit to, starting a little later. Like I went very hard through district season last year. Like I went to like 5 districts, I think.
Yeah, that's it.
Like in different places. Like yeah, like Like
You travel though. That's good.
I do, but like I mean, I went to New York districts. I went to Pittsburgh districts. I attended an Italian district. Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
it was really a lot. I think that portion of the year is probably going to be a bit more chill. And if I can get to it in a reasonable way, I'll do. But like, we're probably not going to blow as many vacation days. You know what I mean? And so that probably sets me up to start going hard around, like more around like April, May, and then you have a kind of
You're
5,
gonna
6
say
months.
that, and then you're gonna see the district calendar and everything you can go to in like 3 months, and none of this is gonna matter. You're gonna go to everything again. I would bet good money.
See, okay, normal circumstance, I would agree with you, but the thing is that I think I normally I would agree with you, but I think the difference here is that I think at some point Bridgman might come to visit me.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
And I want to, and like also I think too that if Worlds is like in Canada, like if it's on our side,
Yeah.
I would love it for people to be able to like, let's say it's in Montreal, come to Toronto first. We can set up something where we test, but also just like have fun, and then we go up to Montreal together. Some sort of thing. And I just want to have the like the vacay days and the whatever to like be able to host as well as everyone has hosted me whenever I've toured, and be able
Yeah.
to give that back more. And so I think just kind of the value's probably not there. Like as much as I love Netrunner and seeing everyone, the value's probably just not there to blow it all on. So we're gonna save some of that, and kind of lie and wait and see. I also think too part of my like impulsive, oh yeah, I'm gonna go to this Netrunner event, I'm gonna go play is like just like getting away from work. Like when you're like, yeah, I'm gonna take some time off and just like stream for 7 days. I'm like, yeah, I feel you. So like when you go through our winters,
Yeah.
like this morning, it was like, bro, it was 8:30. It was still dark. Like it was still dark. Like it was
Yeah.
just,
I
you
don't
know
know
what I
if you should
mean?
talk about this to Axu. I think he just has it way worse than we do.
No, but
With the
like even
darkness,
Axie
yeah.
said that.
With the cold, no.
Yeah. Axie's like you're not like you're on par with it. It's not like because you still get some of that the stream, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Not
Stream, yeah. And so like it's funny because here when you have like temperature, it's like you don't look at like the number. You have to look at what it feels like. So
But
it'll
why?
say like
It's so
-6.
frustrating. Why? Who
Yeah.
cares about the temperature? The feels like it should be the temperature. The temperature doesn't matter. We feel the temperature. Give me that number. Oh my god! This one always gets me.
Well, I think there's probably a number of reasons why it has to be that way.
Sure, it
Um,
just like make the other number as big.
Yeah. That would make sense.
Like it
well,
was
no, I
-6
think
outside. Feels like -22. It's like which one do you want me to dress for?
-2, that
Obviously
feels like
-20.
-22. That's not real, right?
Sorry?
that's maybe a bit of an
Yeah.
exaggeration. But
No,
yesterday,
that
the
was
other
real.
day,
The other day it was -6, -22 because it was so windy.
Ew.
we had -6 feels like -15. Usually, like yeah, I mean, you must have been very windy to get a 16 differential there, but like it's possible, absolutely. Like that's what I mean. It's just like, and then again, in the summer we have humidity, so it's just like it's never the
Yeah.
temperature the thermometer. It's always going to be. There's always factors that make it warmer or colder. Feel like warmer or colder. And I was like, man, winter like kind of just came this year, and is really stuck. Like it hasn't been that the past few years, and so I'm just like, yeah, like a few months of this and I'm gonna want to fly everywhere and like free myself of this. Like absolutely. I'm gonna fight it because I would like to save some money and I'd like to just be ready if things are, on this side. And so that's where, I could maybe get a good like 5-6 months here of chilling before we really, ramp things up to the levels that I usually ramp things up to. But okay, so I told you that we would talk about this because when I was in Montreal, how much Andre is a legend, and that he's someone who can get away with just big timing people, you know? And for people who don't know what I'm talking about, it's just like, you know, when someone is like a star or whatever, and it could be anything from like, yeah, like they say they're gonna do something, but like it never happens, to like, you know, like they, like, you know, like there's them and a bunch of people, and you've met them, and then the next time you see them, you like talk to them and they act like they don't know you. You know, it could be anything in between, okay? And so, you know, Andre, over the years, like, you know, as you know, I started to like go to tournaments, like perform and like da da da. Yeah, I don't know where it started, but it was like we talked about me being on the Metropole grid, you know, and kind of going
Yeah.
Oracle situation, what that's like, and the people know about, you know, and I was like, it's cool because it's like, you know, it shows how inclusive Netrunner is, and you know, it helps me in the sense that like people know way more about oracling and can see how it's done, you know, and then it's easier for me to find Oracle, all kinds of things, right? But like, yeah, okay, you know, I was like, you know, we're gonna get it done. Okay, time passes, hear nothing. Okay, and like people have lives, you know, time, you know, like things to do. Andre's really, really busy man, you know, and like, you know, it's fine. Like, okay, you don't hear it. Okay, cool. Next time, meet up. Oh yeah, we really have to do something, Brandon. We really have to do something, you know. We will get, you know, whatever. And then I'll, you know, even in the channel, I'll comment and be like, yeah, Brandon, we gotta get you on sometime. We gotta get you on sometime. I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Da, da, da. Man, I can't tell you how long this went on for. Okay, to a point where
It's still going on. Let's be honest.
to be clear, Brandon has never been on the Metropole. And here's what you have to know. I think almost every like streaming / YouTube besides Static, I think I've been on. Okay. And I'm like, man, Andre the Legend, you know, fellow, you know, Canadian, like, you know, I'm just like, damn, but like this is like the only one I have not
Okay,
been
hold
on.
on.
Mhm.
But like, okay, I need to defend myself, okay? So firstly, I'm really bad at doing the guest thing. I don't know why, but this is absurd. Like the channel has been around for 10 years. Say we've been streaming for 5. The amount of guests that have been on the Metropole grid is like countable on one hand. It's bizarre. I don't know what that is. Like this whole community is very celebratory of everyone in the community. It's like I don't know why I just don't have guests enough. I need to fix that, that's for sure.
No, okay. So what
Yeah.
you have to understand is that
Yeah.
nobody's buying that load of crap. Okay, that was just spouted. All right, nobody buys it because you know what? You know what
Yeah.
Canadian has been on the Metropole grid. You know, I think it really just tore my heart to pieces when I saw my rival Whiteblade and start showing up
Yeah.
on the Metropole grid. I was like, all right, cool, it's war now. Okay, it's on. You know what I mean? It was one thing when you're big
That's a good
timing me.
stream,
It was
too.
another
That's fun.
thing where you know, I'm bad at getting the guests on, and I don't know why.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
oh,
Okay.
Whiteblade, hey, cool. Like, you know, all right, cool. So we have to ask some very, very, you know, just deep questions here as to why this is actually going on. Okay, number one, you know, and like number one, you know, is it the color of my skin? Because you know, like.
Boy.
That's absurd.
This is the color of my skin, and
Okay,
listen,
great.
I want to say that it's not as bad as what everyone's thinking right now. I think it's understandable because you know when you take people with vision, I've seen it. You know when you take art on the cards, okay, like they care so much about it. They care so much about their colors and their pictures and their stuff,
God.
like above other things that are way important. And we just see it in history of humans, just how these things turn to evil. And so I get it. I get it that you may succumb to visual urges that like are just there.
I'm not going to
They're
trust
probably
any of this.
that.
I'm not going to engage in this.
Then what the fuck are you saying?
But
I need to cut the feed at some point. What the fuck?
I
you
was
know?
going
So-
to say, I was like
Another-
90% sure I would not be invited on this podcast because I'm aware of the sort of like scheduling war that we've had, Brandon. I was like, there's no shot that they're gonna ask me to be part of this, which like that's fine. There's enough Andre on the internet, but like the olive branch that you have handed out here is like very, very appreciated.
Okay, hold on. We're not done though, because we have to get to the bottom of it. You know, if potentially it's not that, which again, as I said, I if it is that, I understand. Okay, I understand. Listen, people don't get mad at Andre. Okay, it's just he can't help it that he has vision and he's choosing to use it in this way. Okay, it it could also be, you know, my disability. It could be that, you know. Listen, like factors, minority factors, they come into play. You know, maybe it was something that, you know, it's just that you weren't quite comfortable with, or, you know, either, you know, it's something that we could have, you know, gone to the side and talked it up, but maybe you just weren't comfortable. Like, I understand that, you know, there's just a lot of reasons that it could have been where, you know, just now I guess I'm a content creator. Wow. You know, but at the time, you know, just two top flight Canadians, you know, couldn't come together on a stream. You know, it made
weird.
me wonder.
You think about it, yeah. No, I get it. You think about it. It's weird, yeah.
Yeah, and so I just wanted to, you know, because again, I know for a lot of people these topics are uncomfortable, you know, but I just want to know, you know, if it is hard, you know, we can talk about. I am a very understanding human being, and yeah, we can work it out. Everybody who's listening, I'm just joking, okay? Crazy. But no, it's great to have you on. I was so pumped when I came to Americons, and I'm like, ooh, you know what? Forget this. I don't have to wait for anymore for Andre to be on mine. I'm just gonna have him, or to be on his. I'm just gonna have him on mine. You
It
know,
was a good power move,
And-
honestly.
100%. I felt powerful, especially when
Yeah.
you're like, Brandon, I didn't think you were actually gonna, like, you know what? I'm like, no. You don't know me very well. This is the perfect play for me to
It's
have
good.
you on mine. This is, you know, and so you know, with this episode, I was like, oh, this is it's sweet in so many ways, and you know, we're here. You know, actually, we made it. You know, we have Andre the Legend on our pod. Okay, we did it. You know, we got there.
I do want to say, like, obviously, there's some jokes aside, but I've watched, or I've watched actually most of it, but I've listened to everything. The King's Court's been an absolute treat. So thanks for y'all for doing this sort of stuff. It's been great.
Yeah, it feels good to do Netrunner. I've wanted to do it for a while and just never got to it, or never felt like it was right or whatever. And I remember when Axe was like, "Oh, you really want to do it? Let's just do it." And I was like, and then I thought about it. I'm like, Axe is the perfect person to do this with. Axe, it's your time to shine. All right. I know you're a sleepy boy, but like, I felt like you had something.
Yeah,
You know,
so
I'll tag you in.
I just had one thing I'd like was supposed to bring up. If
Okay.
you want to cut this, it's totally fine. But does something like Grad's episode 4 say anything to you?
Something like,
Grad's
wait, one more
episode
time?
4. The good, the Grad, and the ugly.
Oh God, okay. I'm so upset about this, genuinely.
Really?
So, yeah. So you know how I mentioned earlier that I did TV McGill. I did like student television when I was in university. So my job at some points, I was an executive producer, I was a technical director at different times. And so our job is to felicitate other students do content creation. And so there was this guy, his name, I think I can remember his name. It doesn't matter. He was a nice dude, and he was like making these like kind of jokey stuff, like skits or whatever. Some of them were better than others, but it's not up to me to judge. I'm meant to support. And so he's like, I need an extra to do a thing. So I was like, yeah, I'll do an extra to do the thing. And so I'm an extra in this like video thing. And then for some reason, he decided to upload that thing to IMDb, which means if you search my name, one of the top search results is IMDb. Andre shows up in this one web series. Now, I don't want people to know that. I don't want people to watch it. And the problem is you can't unlink it because IMDb is like super draconic about it, where they're like, oh, the only way that we can unlink it is if you've legally changed your name. If you've legally changed your name, show us like documentation with your photo ID on it. I'm like, I didn't ask to be here. They were like, well, is it not true? I'm like, of course it's true. It's so frustrating because this shows up when you search my name and I want nobody to know about it. Obviously, we're talking about it here in the public, and
I
that's
can cut
gonna
it
like
if you
do
want.
no good. No, it's fine. It's okay.
Okay,
Like if you search my name, it comes up. I've lived with it. This is my life now. But like, I would pay so much money to destroy this thing at this point.
Man,
I'm glad you found
this
it. I don't know
sounds
if you watched it. It's like it's
This-
cringe.
this
It's
sounds-
obviously cringe.
if people didn't catch all of this, it would sound like you sound like someone who's made adult content.
Oh no, it's like fine.
No.
It's like a comedy skit. But it's like it's not the thing I want people to find when they search my name on the internet.
Sure.
And like IMDb has good SEO placement, it turns out.
So, like you don't want people to watch it because like you don't like the content. Like what?
It's like,
Like
a
you
re-
think? Yeah, go ahead.
it's like a really cringe, like I don't like really cringe, but like a college production for
cringe.
sure.
Yeah, it's a cringe college production. I think I play some loser in it. Like it's for comedy's sake. It's just like it's you want to be in control of your your image online, and like I have just given up my control of my image because somebody uploaded this to IMDb. Like
Damn.
it could be worse. I don't know. This has been around for such a long time,
Yeah.
considering how long it's been since I got out of university. But yeah, whatever.
At least
That's
it
rough.
just has 144 views right now, so
For
but a lot
now.
of people have
That
seen
sounds about right.
So-
Yeah,
so
we're
the-
gonna check in
so the-
in like a month, see how much that's gone up suddenly for some. Who knows? I guess we all talked about it.
Till the King's Court goes worldwide and then how
Yeah.
they go viral. You know.
If you would say like, is it harder for me to watch me losing so hard in 2016 Canets or this skit? This skit is harder for me to watch.
It sounds like by a lot.
Yeah, for sure.
Like,
I
by a
actively
lot.
hate that I helped in this.
That's damn.
And like, I want to be very clear: the person who uploaded it to IMDb did not think of the consequences of it. Like, this was not a hit piece. They just thought this would be good for their portfolio. I just wish they asked.
Yeah. Damn. That is rough.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I think there's, parts of our fans. Can I call them that? No, our listeners. Let's say listeners, okay?
Yeah, we
Who-
have fans.
No,
Not all
no,
listeners
we
are
have
fans.
We have fans. Like I felt like when I went to Worlds and some of the comments that I got, I was like, I have fans. Like I feel like they're fanatics. Like they like some of the comments like, Brandon, you have the truest takes of all time. Like, you know what I mean? Just things that I wouldn't say about myself.
Mhm.
I was like, I have fans. Like, this is sick. Like, it's pretty wild. I would say though, our listeners, I want to ask you. I know you said, okay, I'm not really that tuned in, but like, just Netrunner as a whole, how you feel about it now, the game, maybe meta if you want to dive into that or whatnot. But just
yeah.
kind of
Like high level take. Worlds was cool. I think we're at a point where we definitely just need more cards, and that's coming soon. Like the card pool is small, and I think for a content creator, like having a bigger card pool just helps you make new stuff. That's nice. Without like getting too doomer, but I know from my experience watching Worlds and commentating Worlds games, I do feel like corporations do require a bit more agency. I think there's a lot of games that are just lost because there's not much you can do. That's a hard thing to fix. I have no doubt the nice people at NSG have that as a concern to fix. But I do think just like getting new cards, like that's why it's a bit of a quiet period right now, is going to help a lot. But I think the game is the most accessible it's ever been, especially now they've just announced their new like distributor for cards. That seems really important. So I think every year looks better than the year before. So I think we're in a good spot.
Very
Did you want
good.
something that was more combative than that? Because I can like just
no,
I
because
do
I
want to
wanted
ask
to
actually.
say
Do you
Go ahead.
genuinely think like this is something that I also don't realize? Like I know I have an audience and things I say, people for better for worse sometimes can think they're to be true as opposed to think they are my opinion.
Yeah.
Do you actually
Yeah.
think that the way that I talk on the internet contributes to something like the ban of touch-ups? Like what percentage do you think the decision to ban touch-ups does Andre matter in that conversation? Because I would say 0%, but there's a chance it's more than that.
it's not. It's definitely not zero. It's
Okay.
not zero. And the reason it's not zero, okay, is because I think this is in this game, like the community voice matters, I think, a lot more than in other things. And I think that also too, like when you speak very passionately about something and how you feel and just how like respected you are, like all it takes is for you to be like, this card does this, this, and this, and da da da. And a bunch of people who have died in this way, who are feeling this exact thing, boom, fire's lit. And now that just that something can easily spread. Now, whether that actually is like, the bandless team tested and it makes sense and da da da, whatever. But like it definitely gets the conversation moving, right? And I would say that that's not 0%. Is it like the be
Yeah.
all end all? No. But it's definitely like when because how it was for me when I heard this, I was shocked because
Heard what exactly?
I was because with touch ups, right? When
It
I
being
heard when I
awful?
heard the when I heard the touch ups rant,
Yeah.
like 'cause somebody like linked it to me, and I was like,
Wait, I
oh,
have a touch ups rant clip?
I wouldn't call it a. When I mean linked it to me, I mean like
A
linked
catalog?
the episode in which you went ham.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. I ulted,
And
yeah.
right. And I, I was shocked because from my side, I didn't know that it was like those feelings were felt by people. And I think it's just because like I played Nebula simply like because I liked winning games, right?
Yeah.
It was in the way that the meta was at the time was like, wow, this is a way to win games. I'll take anything that wins games right now. Do you know what I mean? It was literally survival, right? And then like I was talking to EA Sports, and I'm like, look, this is what I have for like we could play this and survive because they were feeling like, what do we play? And a lot of times they're what like we're friends obviously, but it was like um uh you take that up with them actually. We I think in moments of times where it's like the competitive meta feels bleak or we don't know what to do or whatever, we lean on each other, right? We try to pick each other up and help support and things like that. So Nebula was kind of a that kind of that life for us, just experimenting and playing different things in Nebula and all this stuff. And obviously, like Touch was a big part of that. But like, for a while, like only we were playing Nebula like super seriously, And so when I heard this, I was like, really? People are feeling this way? Like I know I'd be, out there in cards, of course, people killing people a lot with this, but like I didn't know people were upset, or at least to the level of which the rant portrayed, like I did not know it was like at 100, I did not know that. So then I was like, oh my God, like I kind of have to go on and defend my boy, like I need to kind of touch up his, like that's our card right now. That's a hero right now. We need this. Like we cannot not have this. Like unless you're gonna really shake up the meta in some way, shape, or form. We need this, you know? But I think that, a lot of people are feeling that way, right? And even in talking to Sokka was like, I'm specifically playing Nebula because I want the shit banned.
Yeah.
Good. Well, oh man.
Yeah. And so it's like it was kind of just this. And then when the ban list thing came out, right? If you remember the ban list before it got banned, it was like, yeah, touch ups is egregious. And I immediately had
Egregious.
Safer on the next time, and I'm like, egregious? Like, let's talk about this because
That's a good word.
well, I didn't think so, but like to each his own. But like I realized that the momentum for Tetris being gone was so much further along and high than I ever thought it was. And you actually brought it to my attention, right? And so like if I didn't ever
my
hear this,
guess is
I would have never known.
I guess internally that like maybe even design and dev disagreed about touch ups because it does seem like a card that does not align with some of the goals of cards within like this is conspiracy theory. But like
Right.
elevation alongside system gateway is meant to be a very simple set. Every card is meant to do something that's comprehensible in about a sentence, and most
Mhm.
of the cards do that. Touch ups is the one card that doesn't. It does like 14 different things on one card. I have no doubt there was internal tensions regarding touch ups, and it already was a target. And getting that ball rolling, yeah, maybe public support needed to start there. But I do want to say, like, maybe at the end of the day, honestly, my frustration might just be more about Nebula. You might not be
Yeah.
surprised. I really detest Nebula
Mhm.
overall, and obviously touch ups turns on Nebula in a way that's like very, very apparent. One of my biggest frustrations over the last competitive season, and like, you know, you take the compliment, is that I was so frustrated to watch so many really good Netrunner players waste the skill and agency that they have playing Nebula.
Mhm.
And I'm glad because it seems like a lot of players realize that. It's like, wait a second, you know, you do win a fair few games, but it doesn't seem like those games, like having a player like you or having a player like Sokka, Brandon. Actually, you don't play Nebula, so I'm gonna remove you from this conversation. Luckily, not that you don't deserve a compliment, but like watching them play this deck just feels like such a waste of skill set versus tools to show that skill set, and
Yeah.
that was like such a big frustration through the whole competitive season.
Right. And I think that like ultimately that's the take that I wish had come out along with
Yeah,
the
that's fair. That's
set.
super fair.
Because that we can 100% agree on, right?
Yeah,
Put the skillful hands in the skillful hands and let's play Netrunner.
exactly.
Absolutely. I'm down with that. Absolutely. Um, because as I said, I was like, bro, how are we gonna win games? I can just time lock someone, just false lead, and just be like, oh, you did, like, and I was just like, oh yeah, this is a viable strategy, and then even then, it was like, okay, we need some traps because it's not
Yep.
enough, yeah, and it was just like you just kept building on it, but I totally I totally agree with you. And it's funny, I got, I'm not gonna name their names, but I got scolded a bit, which is fair. And people, if you something you don't like or if something was different, please leave it in comments below. We'll listen to that. But I was too negative,
Oh, what
and
exactly?
I'm just on the meta. I think
Meta
I
as a
think
whole,
when
yeah.
yeah, or just whatever. I think my Sable take was just like the bridge too far. You know what I mean? And I was kind of like, when I say these things, it's really coming from like a competitive player's mindset. Like the game is great. Don't get that. Lots of things to love about the game. But yeah, there's situations like this where a good portion of us are like, look, if my opponent just runs at the wrong time, we just
Yeah.
win the game. That maybe is better than almost anything else I can play. And that isn't my fault, right? I didn't
Oh,
make the
no, for sure
card.
not.
You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? So it's just kind of like that sometimes like, where the, that kind of quote unquote like negativity can come from, where you're putting in a lot of time to, be good at this game and like build your skills and this is what you kind of have,
Mhm.
and then it gets taken away from, and then you're like, okay, so what do I have now? Do you know what I mean?
This
And
is like what
so
I don't get is like I would wear it as a badge of honor in a way that might be unbearable, but like if I could single-handedly get a card banned in Netrunner, that is sick, right? Like there's people who have done that. Many people have done that. They built a deck, they found an interaction that's become so problematic that causes a ban in the standard format. That is such a cool thing to do. Like you win. You beat Netrunner. Like you did it. You broke the game. Now the game has to change because of you. I don't know why we wouldn't be excited about that.
okay, I'll explain that, because you are right in a vacuum, okay?
Mhm.
And so off season, right? I can
Yeah.
look back at that and be like, yeah, I definitely helped contribute to that. Like we really did that. It was great. But I always ask people this now, right? Would you rather have the best deck in July or would you rather have the best deck in October? This stuff matters when you are a competitive player,
Yeah, the timing
right?
is weird. You're right.
Yeah.
Or
So
at least that's not what you'd want it to be. You'd want it to be banned after October.
correct. Like am I gonna go dancing around being like, yeah, guys, I won this mega city?
Well, it's December. Go dance now, right? But no, I totally agree.
No, but like, would I rather dance and be like, yo, I won worlds? It's a big difference. It's a huge difference. Sure. And so when you're doing everything you can just to win games, and this is the thing that you're using to win games, at the time when you're in it, that's what you're thinking about. You're not thinking about, like, you think about, oh, I got this card banned, or I did this thing. You'll think about that later. But really, I'm trying to think about how many games I can win, how many tournaments I can win, how many top 16 cut. Like, that's what I'm aiming for, right? And I need the tools to do these things. And without tools, it's very hard to do these things. And so that's where that came from at the time. Now I can be like, man, us netheads, we did the thing, we did it. Like we had a good portion of the meta, in our hands. We had people super scared anytime they sat down across from a Nebula deck. Like, I think also too, like the other part that I was like not happy with the rant was just because like there's a war, there's a what is the right word? There is a struggle, let's say, in my mind. There's probably, maybe this doesn't exist outside of my mind, but I feel like there's old Netrunner and there's new Netrunner. Okay, and as someone who is part of old Netrunner, I was upset that it also came from you, because I'm like, you know how this goes. This is not your first rodeo. You know that yellow just fucking cards. Like, this is not new. This is how Netrunner is. Like, you know what I mean?
I hear you.
They do this thing. They kill.
But they've
get
never
value
killed
that you're like,
this.
holy shit.
They've never killed with this little like avenues for player expression. Like, this is like, yeah, I played 3 Asterscript Netrunner, right? Like, I played NEH, we played CTM. All that sort of stuff still requires you to put things on the table on most board states. And like, that's the biggest frustration with Nebula. I don't need to say this. You know this. This is what I think about it. But like, can you trash the Sansan City grid when it's an operation in their hand? No, not really.
Well, I mean, there is a deck that can, but yes.
But you know what I mean? It's like, it is fundamentally not like something we've seen before.
No. This like, don't get me wrong. I think
like we're getting excited if the meta was like 10 in Institute. It's like, no, that's not what I want this game to be, right? Like, that's where we are.
Yeah, we have a joke in Unbanned, or not Unbanned, in Tiebreakers. We just call this meta startup, and that's just what it feels like. It's just kind of like I remember playing startup, and somebody like at AmericaCon, and somebody was like, trick shot into like Views Coalesce, and then they played Creative Commission. This is before Creative Commission was unbanned. I'm like,
yeah, sick.
This is the more powerful thing that I could ever do in Standard. Like, what the heck is happening right now? Like, it was very tilting. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, we actually agree. But I think, that I didn't know about that touch-ups. Like, people felt that way about touch-ups too. Like, I was so taken aback. And so I think, going back to the original part, I don't think when any of us say that, I don't think it's ever 0.
Yeah, it's probably not 0. I just I want to be very clear, and this is maybe a bad thing to hear, is I do not think of that when I say the thing I want to say.
Yeah, 100%.
Because you get terrified.
Yeah, I don't think we for sure. Me and Brandon talking on this podcast, it's also adds to the conversation about some cards. If Brandon is really happy talking about his Nebula deck after a tournament that he won, people will start playing it and be it will show up more. Everybody has I have this idea about being a ethical content creator and not playing toxic decks at some points.
That's the thing too, is there's certain decks or interactions that I want to explore, but I realize if I do a deck dive on a certain interaction, ganked into drafter or whatever it was back in the day, that is going to now show up a non-inconsequential amount of percentage more on JNet casual. And so there's a lot of ideas that I scrap because I don't think it'll make the global meta better. And again, I want to say this with humbleness, I'm not shaping the global meta, but if I do a deck dive on 419 corporate grant, whatever I have done back in the day, you will have to play that on JNet more than you did yesterday. And that is sometimes you feel weird about it.
That's interesting because I feel like, and maybe this is just being oblivious. I don't know, right? Because I think when you're doing all these things, maybe it takes some time to really know if or how much impact you're really having. But
Yeah.
yeah, for sure, because you do a lot of deck lists of the week, I know what's gonna show up on JNet. Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
anytime I see a stream name and I look what would the deck play, and I'm like, oh, for the next week, you know, you expect to see a lot more of this. That's the impact you're having. I don't think like necessarily we've been around long enough, and we don't play like decks on stream or whatever. So
it's different, but like it still exists.
it's hard. No, it exists. That's what I mean. Is like but it's harder to tell.
Mhm.
I feel like I like that. Like my idea is like, oh, spark conversation, get ideas out there, or just really get people to kind of really talk about the game of Netrunner and what's happening in it at the time, right? But I guess in time I'll find out if if I had any impact or any like did I move something, and I think, as I said, you say it's like hard to make certain content knowing that this is going to impact this and it's hard. And it's funny, in my mind, I'm like, I want to be Andre when I grow up. Like, I want to have that level of gravitational pull. Like, that is, you know what I mean? Like, that is, like, to me, that's big time. Like, and like, again, I get it. Like,
It's a week before your nationals or whatever, and then you post like this deck tech write up of this like great HB deck that's unbeatable. Secretly, you're tuning your criminal deck that has like a 90% win rate. I know where you're getting at. It's like it's a great power,
Man, like I'm always looking for more. I'm always looking for more. And if I had those kind of powers, because it's instant, like the moment deck list of the week, the next couple days, yeah, JNet's flooded with what Andre's playing. Like those kind of that's elite. I'm telling you. Like I would love that would be great. But I think meta wise, hopefully we can expand the card pool. We don't have to rotate as much, and things will get better on that front. I look at some of these like past decks that have done well, and it's just like in past years, and I think some of them it's just like, oh man, these decks have been around for a while, just no one put them together. And I think in a bigger card pool that exists more, there's more nooks and crannies, let's call it, okay, to really look under and look over and build and things like that. And I just think right now we're just kind of at a lull. But hopefully
it might not be
as I
true,
said,
but it feels like that for sure.
Feels like that, yeah. And we'll, my positivity is that we'll pick back up, and we'll there's going to be new things, new toys, and new fun to be had. I hope that's positive enough for the peeps out there. That's the best I can do, though. I'll be honest. That's the best I can do, because for me, if I see a problem or kind of think about, I'm just gonna say it. Like that's just me.
Yeah, but the things you consider problems are kind of whack.
Haven't found one of those yet. But yeah, like haven't come across those yet. But like I don't know. I I think too why I'm excited to hopefully build as opposed to subtract is that it just feels like when you keep subtracting, it's just next one up, right? Like right now, everyone's going to talk about measured response. Do you think measured response is a bannable card?
Right now? No, not really.
Just in general, like it just never should be a bannable card. Like this is my point. There's so many cards here that are coming down the pot, like that are like, ooh, we got to fix the meta by doing this because we continue to subtract, right?
Yeah, but that seems to be a symptom of a smaller card pool. Like a bigger card pool will allow you to unban more cards.
That's what I mean. That's continue.
Yeah, I agree with
that.
that.
That's
100%.
what I'm saying. I'm excited to build because I was saying I was like, I was talking to, I was in the pod. I think the perfect example is like talking to Kika just about dolls. It was just like, at the time, I think it was right after Continental season. I was like, 8 weeks ago, no one but like someone over here playing Rogue was playing dolls. 2 weeks later, it was in this new shiny criminal deck that shows up. 2 weeks later, it's in every crim deck. And a week later, it's now in Anarch, and it's now considered, hey, this is the breaker that you should be playing instead of real breakers. You know what I mean? And so it was just like, I was like, yeah, like this, you now, unfortunately, are going to have to consider this because this is the most powerful thing now, And so I would love to continue to build, because every time you subtract, you just put another card in the limelight that's like, oh, this is now too much. And it continues to go downhill. I don't think measured response, like, maybe I'll eat my words, but I mean, for now, I just don't think this should ever be, like, the way it's made up, the guardrails that are on it, I don't think it should ever be a bannable card. But, like, in the meta that we're in right now, like, if we stayed in this meta for another, like, 8 months, let's say, we're not going to, but if we did, I could see it being chopped because it is going to be the next card,
Yeah.
But
so
I think there's also like, SPT has a lot of different priorities. If we're stuck in this meta, maybe stuck is a bad, connotation. If we're in this meta for the next 8 months, I think there's also some value of just banning measure to mix stuff up. Like that does also happen. This is outside of your point, almost entirely, but like there's reason that will happen even if the meta is like if you can still beat measured.
I would take.
I think I'm just saying 8 months maybe was too big of a window. Is all I'm saying.
No. I want to clearly say that that's not going to be the case. But if it was the case, I would say that, to me, I disagree. I don't think it's mixing it up. I actually feel like I don't know what the numbers are. I don't know what the size is. But I feel like in a card pool this small, when you ban things like as key as something like measured response, you are not mixing it up. You are only subtracting. There has to be a certain level of, like, I don't know if it's shuffling win cons or just other things to do that would that I'd be like, okay, you did this, you took away this, you added this, and you're mixing. If you're just taking,
but like
you're not mixing.
You're subscribing. The idea of like deleting the cards is still mixing the decks people are going to play, because they will not play like this asset ob anymore after a ban like measured response. So like the decks you will play in tournaments are going to be really different after the
not better, but different, right? Like
yeah.
it's just like last week's tournament results will be different from this week's tournament results, both on the Wayland side and then the decks that are doing well because they beat measured response, no longer being required.
Correct. I guess my other take on top of that is that we put way too much stock into that than actually figuring out good things and enough good things to play. And that, I think, is one of my problems with the game right now, is like that is taking way too much into consideration. If this deck is winning games and it's fine and it's not, like, I don't know, like when I look at good decks, they're going to do certain things that are a bit over the curve or a bit like more than decks that are not, right? I think that's fair to say. Like if you take away that and then, the next week it's this other deck that is maybe like that, is kind of okay, but like we're actually at a state where the cards you are taking away, sure, it changes the type of decks that you play, but they're actually just getting lower in power level.
Yeah,
it's just getting actually worse.
Yeah,
but like what else can you do?
Yeah, you can't do anything else without printing new cards.
Exactly, but that's what I mean. I think people, like, there's enough people who are like, we need to change. I'm like, no, you don't need to do anything. You just need to wait for new cards. Like,
yeah, but like if you want to play tournaments at this point and you want there to be something new, you just have to ban cards. Like
sometimes you can wait. Like I'm pretty sure that if you didn't do anything going into Worlds and then you waited a couple months, like the decks you would see in January would be a fair bit different than the decks you would have seen in November. Maybe the card pool's too small. That's not entirely true, but like, yeah, no, I totally agree. It's like if you need a change, it's the only way. That's the only lever you have besides unbanning cards.
Yeah, I just think we need a change, or it's getting stale, so we're gonna play this. And I'm like, no. To me, I lean in the direction, and I think it's why I say what I say a lot of the time, is like, you print enough good cards, and like going forward, we have the ability to not rotate for a bit. You print enough good cards to get the card pool big enough. You don't need to do this.
Yeah.
and I think a lot of player skill will take care of making things different, shaking things up,
Uh-huh.
right? I think these are what I would say. You're getting into bad habit territory, where now it's like every time we need to push this button. No, you really don't.
Okay, like
And
your solutions are just bad though. Like your solution was not going to do anything for like this whole thing, or what?
but like that isn't my solution, because that's not
Okay,
my
what's your solution?
solution.
Magically print more cards then?
That's what I mean. The cards are coming. You just have to
Yeah.
wait for them. Just be patient. Like that's all it is. Like you banning Daw and falsely just doesn't, like, the cards are coming. Just wait for the cards. Like you just keep hitting things because you feel like you need to change things. Like not. There's
It's always been like
no.
this.
What is this?
Yeah.
What is this shakeup like?
It's
Like
like
off meta month, you then go into CBI, I guess.
Yeah, CBI is going
yeah, it
Like,
might matter for the CBI.
Sorry.
I just think like there's a reason. There's always been this historical like we've all seen this. Is like this period of time. There's usually a ban list. Does it matter? Does it matter because there's not a lot of competitive play? You could argue no, but it's just so that there's something to do. If you want to explore the format, there is something there. Does it have to be the best ban list? No. Did they give us back hostile infrastructure and indexing for a couple months, a couple years ago? Yeah. Did I love that? No. But like the idea is it just does something so that
Yeah.
there's a new world you can explore in Netrunner.
And
If you don't
like-
want to touch it, that's fine. Because like new cards are coming out soon.
And like, I think you're focusing on that there's no tournaments around, but people are still playing the game, like Giant Casual. People still play there, and maybe there's people want to change or something.
Like if I'm going to casuals and luckily casuals falsely doesn't show up, and then I just have to play against like, falsely AUCO every week for a while, like, that's going to do some damage to me. But that's because I don't feel like you can play casual Netrunner against that deck. So maybe there's like 3 different issues there. If issues is not right. Expectation management is important at all levels of play.
Yeah.
I'm hearing this. I'm hearing this. I like, especially like actually what you said just about like other people, they're still playing the game, so like this change means something there. I'm just like, I'm curious to see going forward, next 18 months, if there is going to be a more of a stance of like, will you actually remove things from them? Because that's my other thing, is just like a lot of things when they get banned, they go to die. Right? And so like we're just doing it to shake things up or change. Like maybe this card didn't actually need to go to the Shadow Realm for eternity. Do you know what I mean? And that's why I think like I take bans very seriously.
I think
because it should be serious.
We have the stream with
Right.
Safer on, and I think Safer was talking about like they're seriously looking at unbans.
Yes.
I don't think we're full doomer on this.
So okay, 2 things. This is really fun.
You can look, but will you do like that? I mean, you can say you can look all the time. I'm just saying, I'm curious to see if it'll actually happen, because then it's like, cool, shake things up all you want, because then you can move things around. But if things just go to die every time you want to shake things up,
I am guessing we're going to see the most unbans we've ever seen with Vantage coming out. I'm pretty sure they can design around that, and they have good reason to do that. I just want to ask really quickly, because I wonder if the numbers can be different. Aksu and Brandon, can you both tell me what percentage of the card pool in Standard is banned right now? Because I know the number. What do you think it is?
5. It's 5.
Okay. Aksu?
6.
Okay. Yeah, it's 5. It's about 1 in 20 cards is banned.
Yeah.
So obviously when Vantage Point comes out, that number is going to go down because there's more cards in the card pool. But I'm pretty sure we'll see like 4 or 5 unbans when the new set comes out, because it's really easy for them to do it, because they can design with that in mind. I think designing Elevation is hard, because Elevation has to be like the second product, so it has a bunch of other design restrictions. But it seems like Vantage Point is its own like weird thing. I wouldn't say standalone, but it's not part of a cycle seemingly, from my understanding.
Yeah.
So like the design goals can be more open. They can be like, okay, what can we do to get I don't have a good example here, but like, what would it take to put Drago back in the game, or what would it take to make healing playable? I think those are probably too extreme. But
Yeah.
like, yeah, you could pick a card on the ban list that makes more sense in that sentence.
Yeah, like your
Right.
dream nets, your info bounty, stuff like that.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm not super negative about it. Again, you can check in a couple months and see if that's the case. But like, yeah,
So wait, hold on. I have a question for both of you. If I'm not optimistic, does that make me negative?
yes.
Yes.
No. It's either you're negative or you're one of those people who says I'm a realist, but realist always usually slants negative.
So basically, because I'm the realist out, I'm negative. I do not subscribe to that. I think that's just zoomerology.
No,
I really believe.
I think you just
I-
keep complaining. That's negative.
No,
there's no reason not to have faith. Like so far, NSG has been doing a really great job. The SBT on average has been doing a really great job. Like, yeah, there's problems, of course there is,
Yeah.
but like there's no reason not to think they have the best intentions in mind.
So well, okay.
I don't think you
no.
still think that.
No, see,
Uh-oh.
no. That to me is the line like too far for me. I think they
Sure.
definitely do. Any one of them have the best intentions in mind. I don't want to come across like that.
I don't think you do.
That's
Sometimes
okay.
Brandon does for sure.
I think you can be I think you can be neutral. I don't think you have to, like, to me it doesn't have to be pessimist or optimist. I just think that like I can have questions, right? I think these are questions. I think I can share my I don't know, what are the worries of going forward without being considered negative, right? Like I wouldn't even say this was complaining. I'm just asking a question, right? I
No,
don't think that's negative. I think you can be neutral without being like, oh my God, I'm just not going to like, I'm not saying that you guys are doing this, but like if I see a problem, that doesn't mean I have to like kiss NSG's ass. Like I can still have a problem with it without being negative is my take. But
for
yeah.
sure. And I think people want to always say that they are the level-headed, like response to it. I
Mm.
do think a lot of it, and again, this has nothing to do with how you're talking, obviously, Brandon, but like a lot of it is also how you express, right? Like I can very easily say, oh, I think there might be an issue with corporation agency right now.
Mm.
That's one take. Or you could hear other people talk about it, be like, corp play right now is garbage. They're both saying the same thing. One of them you could say is more extreme than the other. So also some of it's how you express it.
Yeah, 100%.
So I need to be more what's the word?
Mindful.
No, I don't think you do.
I need to speak more like Peter H. Is what you're saying right now.
People are really willing. This is the thing, is like
Yeah.
people are really willing to listen to Peter H because the way that he expresses himself, whether you agree or don't agree, just the way that's presented seems like it's thoughtful. It is thoughtful, right? But like when I go off on like my off the cuff take when I lose to like Nebula touch ups, like that stuff, you should not listen to me when I'm fired up because obviously it's going to be nonsense.
I think
I don't think you should re-examine how you're presenting things. I want to be very clear. I just want to have a conversation about like tone versus topic.
Got it.
Yeah. It's abstract.
Okay. Because I'm listening. I'm listening. I'm willing to like if this is an area where I'm like, ooh, okay, like I can better myself here. I'm open to it. But like I think I wanted some pushback on the quote unquote negative thing because I think that like if we're always just like they're doing a great job, things are like then you're like just like the whole touch ups thing was a thing. I think you can go the other way, right? Like I think you can the same way. Like you can put things out there and you don't know who's listening, but they may have the power to say something to someone else that changes this thing that makes something better. And so that's why I'm like, I gotta put it out there, Yeah. Is there anything Andre, you wanted to plug, shout out, all that stuff? Like the floor is totally yours. Or anything we didn't cover that you wanted us to?
Oh, yeah. I just wanted to take a second because I thought this might come up organically and it didn't. But Axu, you had some comments a couple episodes ago talking about how you think the focus of organized play should be tilted more towards making like a nice social situation as opposed to like, dumping money into prize support and stuff like that. Obviously, since then, No Signal Games has even said like, hey, stop making too much prize support, which like that's a funny situation to be in. But I just wanted to say I really appreciated that take and I spent a lot of time thinking about it and I think you're totally correct. So that's a good take. I like that a lot.
Yeah.
Damn, actually, maybe you're right. No one's come on and been like, Brandon, your take was awesome.
It's a good take.
Yeah, I know. I can tell my food takes are also correct.
You're winning the take.
Oh, your food takes are so bad, like really bad. Like I can't believe you're alive.
Actually, never
Not that
mind.
many
Maybe I'm
foods you
always.
can eat.
I guess I'm still winning because like I think there's just so many people who are like The food takes are off. Like your food takes are so bad that nobody actually like holds you to the like puts you to the fire over eating cards. Like that's how bad your food take
Yeah.
is.
You
That's
don't know how many
crazy.
people have been bringing that shit up. You don't know.
And because it's the most wild thing I think I've ever heard somebody as I say again, like I did not know that was coming at all. It was not. I've never heard this in my life. And then I was like, holy shit! I think I almost died of shock when you just said it live. I was like, wow, all right.
I'm like constantly stunned, Axu, as a representative of Null Signal Games' organized play. The amount of times that your responses just cheat in Netrunner is ridiculous. It should be one. It's way over one.
It's
Just break the rules. It doesn't matter. It's wild, man. That's definitely a way to run this.
I love Axu. Oh my god. That's what I said. At the moment he was like, let's do this, I'm like, he's the perfect person for this. Oh my god. Yes.
Yeah, I guess I'll plug what normally plug. I do content on a channel called the Metropole Grid. We stream every Thursday night around 8:45 Eastern. The VODs are all up. There's turns out about 900 videos to watch. Some of them are good, but we've been doing it for about 10 years. So there's a lot of stuff there. I also stream Marvel Champions on Sundays if you want to play some superhero stuff. But yeah, it's mostly Netrunner. So you can check that out, Metropole Grid.
Excellent. And good is like selling it so far short. They're excellent.
That's very kind.
They're great. They are spectacular. Please go and check it out. Yeah, I'm pretty sure you'll learn a thing or 10. And yeah, they're great. Thank you so much, Andre, for coming through.
Thanks so much for having me. I really look forward to this. I think hopefully sometime in the near future I'll have Axu on the Metropole Grid. I'm looking forward to that too.
Yo!
Wait, what?
Perfect.
It's just the time zone works better. I think you know how it is.
Yeah, I know. I get it.
Well, with that said, actually, you have anything else?
No, I want to go to sleep.
I got it. All right, sleeping well. All right, cool.
Congratulations
Please
on 100 more years of Finland.
Yeah, thanks.
Exactly. Shout outs to Finland for being Finland and being independent and all that good stuff. Please like, comment, subscribe, leave comments, questions, all those things. And we outie.
We're outie.